basically what I teach is that film acting is fucking easy, because because that's my experience of it, because I define acting on film as behaving as if it's really happening, which is just called playing pretend. That's all your job is in a TV show or a movie, is to just play pretend in front of the rolling camera and want things to surprise you, because you can't fake spontaneity, and the camera has to capture spontaneous human behavior. So the great performances in your favorite TV shows and movies, they weren't sort of pre-planned and practiced in front of a mirror and then delivered to the camera. Sorry, I have an actor who I guess never got the link to come, so I have to send him that link right now. So I'm going to pause for a second while I take care of business. Pardon me, you guys. Okay, so the acting part is easy, but it's really uncomfortable, right? Isn't it like super uncomfortable to act? Well, that's never going to go away, and it shouldn't, because it's a great thing that your heart is racing and your stomach is full of butterflies. You know, that excitement, Judi Dench calls it her batteries. It is what fuels your performance. I like to say that that racing heart plugs me into my higher power, the magic of acting. And then I don't feel as though I'm in control of the scene, but more that my higher power, racing heart, is guiding me through it, and it's going as it was meant to go. The reason why is that when your heart races, more blood gets to your brain, you become superhuman. It expands your mind. All of a sudden you remember words that you didn't even know you had memorized, or all of a sudden you can feel powerful emotions. So the racing heart is our friend. Any teacher who says that, the only thing you bring me into that audition room is the work you put into the scene, that's a lie, because you're going into that audition room hand in hand with your racing heart. I'm not saying there isn't a healthy way to prepare, but for me, it's very little. All I do is memorize and scene comprehension, and then I walk in the room. So yes, acting's easy, and yes, it's uncomfortable. But what we do want to learn is how to get out of our own way so we can enjoy how easy and uncomfortable acting is. And to do that, you've got to get control of that negative voice in your head that's telling you, you don't know what you're doing, you're not prepared, you're not right for this part. Because that really is your enemy, and that's your ego. Everybody has one. Your ego is the half of you that wants you to fail. So as you know, imagine it's a vulture squawking on your shoulder, because now you can let your vulture know, I'm not interested in talking about this right now. I'm here to play pretend. Your vulture shuts up, and then you can act. So if I was sitting where you guys are sitting, in whatever city you're in, and I knew I had to perform today, my vulture would be squawking a lot of junk at me right now, about how I don't want to do this, and I'm not prepared, and I'm going to forget my words, and this has to be perfect. So I would be saying my actor affirmations to my vulture, and you can read all my actor affirmations here in my free ebook for actors. They're the first chapter for a reason, guys, because the actor affirmations are the most important thing I teach, because the acting part's so easy. It's the getting out of your way that's so important, and that's why it's the first chapter. So basically, if I was in your shoes and had to perform today, I would be saying the following affirmations based on what my vulture is saying to me. So I'm going to share with you sort of my top 10 affirmations based on what my vulture usually says right before an audition, and you can pretend you're saying this to your vulture, okay? So here we go. I release and destroy my need to control this audition today. I am not strong enough to control it. Whenever I try, it never works. So instead, I'm going to just ask my higher power to lovingly guide me through it. And however it goes, it was meant to go. Even if it goes badly, good. It was meant to go badly. For some reason, like if it had gone really well, I would have gone out, I would have gotten too drunk tonight and fallen down a flight of stairs. So it's going to go how it was meant to go, even if it's badly, and that's fine. I release and destroy my need to be an actor or actress. I'll let the other people here be the actors and actresses and have all those responsibilities. I'm not an actor. I'm just here to be me and enjoy playing in these circumstances. It's not a script, but I'm going to pretend it is. I'm going to take it, Vulture, I'm going to take it from where I am, okay? So however I'm feeling, however prepared I am is a fine place to begin this scene. And when the scene begins, I'll just approach it like an improv, as if it's really happening to me for the first time. Now, if I was doing a drama scene tonight, I'd want to remind myself how I live my life. Because film acting in a drama is a mirror of real life. So anything you wouldn't really be experiencing in real life in those circumstances, you really shouldn't be involved in doing when you're acting. See, actors, they get involved in a lot of result-oriented techniques and concerns when they're doing drama acting. And so I remind myself these 3 things because they remind me how I live my life. So number 1, I'm not going to make any choices. I don't have to. I'm not going to make any choices, but more importantly, I'll allow choices to happen to me based on the circumstances. And if nothing happens, that's fine. Because an audience can project on nothing. Nothing is awesome on film. But it's not that I don't want anything to happen. It's that I don't want to make the choice. I want to experience it as if the choice is happening to me. Number 2, these words, I'm just going to throw them away. I'm not going to color them or deliver them. They're just going to tumble out of my mouth when they want to. I'm going to throw them away. I have faith I have the character's thoughts and feelings. That's what matters. And the words I'll just throw away. And number 3, I hope those people out there, and Jack, I hope they feel so fucking uncomfortable watching me do this scene today. And I'm going to do that by not taking care of the scene at all, but instead and only being interested in my experience of behaving as if this is really fucking happening to me for the first time. If I was doing a comedy, I'd want to remind myself that I release and destroy my need to be funny. The worst way to approach a comedy is to try to make the audience laugh. If you're tickled, they'll be tickled because acting runs on empathy. The audience has the experience you have. So I release and destroy my need to be funny. I'm just here to tickle myself. And people say, well, what am I tickling myself with? And the answer is easy. Humans are weird. We're like weird creatures. And so you're just tickling yourself with your own genuine human behavior. And lastly, I release and destroy my need to impress these people here today or out there. As a matter of fact, I could hate them if I want to, though I never would really hate them. But I'm going to give myself permission to hate all these people here today. Fuck them. Who gives a shit what they think? So wouldn't it be nice if those were the thoughts you were putting in your head as you walk into the audition room instead of what pops into our head out of habit, which is something more along the lines with, oh shit, you better get this right, book the job, you know? So do any of you guys here have any questions about the actor affirmations? Anybody been doing them, but you just wish they worked a little better? Or does, that made you laugh, or does anybody have something that your vulture's been saying when you act lately and you don't know what to say back to him or her? No, everybody's cool on that? Okay. We're going, you know, I don't think we'll go the whole 3 hours today. We have, I think, 10 performances. So we will take a short, like 4-minute break after the 4th person to perform today. But I'll give you a heads up when that's coming. I'm going to talk a little bit more and then we're going to start off with Ashley. So I just like to remind people at every workshop the importance of what I call the secret to acting. And that is that you are not here today to show us what the scene will look like in the finished product. Because all that will do is make you need to get a word perfect, keep it moving, and make it look like a nice, smooth, polished surface, and it doesn't book work. So the way I like to describe to approach your audition is like this. Every actor, when they do book a job on film and they go to set, their first take of each scene is always, let me get something on film that won't embarrass me. Right? Or in other words, let me show what the scene will look like in the finished product. It's the same thing. And the director is always like, oof, well, I guess let's keep doing it. That's why they do a whole bunch of takes. And then, you know, you do it again and again and again. Maybe around the 8th take, the director will be like, wonderful, we've got the scene, we're done, we can move on to the next scene. Although, gosh, I guess we have time to kill. I guess we could do the scene again, but this one's for you. I'm never going to look at this scene. I don't need this take because I don't need this take. I have what I need, so whatever. And then, of course, what happens when the editor watches the 9th take? She's always like, finally, something I can use. Because as I said, the great movies and TV shows are made of lucky accidents caught on film. So you want to approach your audition as if it's the 9th take, where you have no responsibility to the scene. And instead, you're just playing in these circumstances, wanting stuff to surprise you. Because again, when something surprises you in an audition, there's an electric jolt of spontaneity in the air. Everyone in the room feels it. And the more of those you have, the better chance you have of booking the job. That's how you book a job. So every actor's motto should be, all I want to do is surprise myself. But we're trained to drive home from an audition going, well, I did it how I planned. I hope they liked it. Whereas I hope you'll want to go home from an audition going, oh my God, that was so exciting and uncomfortable, but so exciting. I didn't expect to say that line like that, or to add that line, or to cry on that line, or to, that's the energy that books work. Does anybody have any questions about the 9th take, how to do it? I also like to remind people how I personally do the 9th take, how I like to get myself to do the 9th take. And so what I do is, when I'm about to go into an audition, I like to pretend that I've already been there and done it. And then I pretend I'm the director talking to me in my mind. And he's going to have me do it again, but he says the following: oh my God, Jack, thank you so much for bringing in all those brilliant choices. They were perfect for the scene. And I have them all on film perfectly, and I'm going to use them. So since we're done, and I'm never going to look at this next take, I guess you don't have to do any of that brilliant stuff you brought in. Gosh, I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Take all the time you want, and you have permission to do it badly. I'm never going to look at this take. And then I walk in the room and do the scene. It is the only time you will give yourself permission to act if you agree that acting is behaving as if it's really happening. So if anybody has any questions about that concept, let me know. No? Okay. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to just talk about or ask me at this point? Something that's bothering you or something? Okay. Oh, yes, Alex. You're upside down,
Hi.
so I'm actually glad that I got to bring you on, because I wanted to take care of this before too long. Hello, Alex. Nice to see you.
Is that better?
Much better.
Cool. Just kind of a technical question about the taping or the session today. Should we be wearing headphones? Is there like feedback if we don't? No?
No.
Cool. That's all I want to know.
Okay. See you later. Okay, so Ashley is up first. And hi, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
So, I'm wonderful. Thank you. You're doing, okay, Jules.
I'll be reading Diane and you'll be reading Fesco, and it's 54 and 55 of the.
I have it here. Okay, and everyone out there, this is a drama scene. Oh, by the way, you want me to start on 54 because the scene starts on 54?
Yeah, I chose 54 because I just wanted to do your 2 pages, but yeah.
Totally fine. But just so everybody knows, this takes place at a pool party at night, and it says that I'm laying on a pool chair, smoking a joint, and that Diane approaches, takes the joint, and sits with me. So I have the first line. You let me know when you're ready, and we'll begin.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Tell you the truth, your whole drug thing kind of makes me uneasy.
Oh, you go soft on me, Fesco.
Yeah, well, I mean it. I like you, and I missed you, and that shit at the beginning of the summer really scared me.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
I'm not being flipped, Darren, okay? I've been in the drug game for 6 years. I've seen a bunch of people die, but none like you. I don't know what the fuck you got going on inside you, and I don't know how to fix it, but trust me, this shit ain't the answer.
I remember when I was 11 years old, like a month or two after my dad was diagnosed, and we got the results from the prognosis, and it was really good. It was like 80-20. And we had this little celebration, and we sat in between my parents. We watched Seinfeld reruns, and it was weird. It was like suddenly I couldn't breathe. It was like I was like gasping and panicking, and they called the ambulance, and they thought it was an allergy, and they gave me liquid Valium. And I remember the moment it hit me. It was like the whole world went quiet. And suddenly I was like safe in my own mind. And 2 years later, he was gone. My panic attack stayed. But I found a way to live. And will it eventually kill me? Yeah, probably. So he's still going to be my drug dealer, Fezgo?
You're a fucking trip, and I am way too high for this conversation.
Me too.
Okay, that's the scene. Sorry that I disappeared for a second. I hit the wrong button. Okay, so I'm going to ask you what your experience of doing the scene was, because in my opinion, that's what matters. I think in a lot of what I would consider to be result-oriented or fear-based acting classes, artists are trained to do their art and then be like, well, how was I? You tell me. Was I good? Was I terrible? Because I have no idea. And the truth is, actually, you do know. Because since acting runs on empathy, the audience will only have the experience you have. And if you have an experience where you're vulture squawking a bunch of nonsense, then that makes it very hard to behave as if it's really happening. So it's a bad experience for you. So it's a bad experience for them. Whereas if you have an experience where your vulture's silent, so it's easy to just behave as if it's really happening, then that's a good experience for you. So it's a good experience for them. And that's why I tell actors, you got to be totally selfish. Only interested in your own experience, because any part of you that's worried about what the people out there think is a part of you that's not back here in your own selfish shit, having a rich, surprising, emotional experience, thereby giving the audience a rich, surprising, emotional experience. So when I say, what was your experience of that? Did anything come up you don't care for? What I also mean is like, what I really mean is, was there anything your vulture was saying?
Yeah, I think there was moments where I had self-awareness of myself to pick up the pace, especially with getting to the area about the liquid Valium. I could hear myself a little bit in the monologue get to that point, because it's all leads up to that point. Other than that, though, I felt pretty present and not self-aware. Okay,
so I'm very particular about how actors word their experience, because your thoughts create your reality. And with actors with their thoughts, they create a reality that's very complex and full of ways to fail. Whereas I, with my thoughts, created a reality that's very simple, and there's no such thing as failure. So if I give you another way to verbalize your experience to yourself, it's simply me offering you words that could create a reality where there's less opportunity to fail and things will be easier. And so you said you became self-aware, and then at the end you said, and you were glad that most of the time you weren't self-aware. And what I would say is, we're always self-aware, and that's never going to go away, nor should it. The walls are never going to melt, and you're going to be at a pool party, you know. In other words, you're always going to be aware of things. And I call those things, because they're not vulture squawks, I call those things simply actor thoughts. Things like, oh, the casting director wrote in her book, or, oh, the line just came out that way, or, oh, I'm scratching my cheek. See, actor thoughts are fine because they can't read your mind.
Right. As long as you
And
use
so
it.
the problem is that actors have a thought come into their mind that, I'm not talking about vulture squawks, but they have an actor thought come into their mind and they grab it by the shoulders and they go, what are you doing in here? You don't belong in here. So I hope that in the future, when you have actor thoughts, you'll just, it'll just go in one door and out the other. And there's nothing wrong with that. That will always happen and it's fine. But when actors say, oh, I was watching myself, or, oh, I wasn't present, what that really means is in that moment, your vulture squawked because you're always present. What are you going to disappear? So if you tell me for the most part, I felt like I was present, what you're really saying is for the most part, my vulture was not squawking. So let's release and destroy our need to be present because you always are. And okay, you understand that? What you're telling me is by saying there was a moment when I became self-aware, then what that means is in that moment, your vulture squawked and it re-squawked what? A result-oriented concept, which was pick up the pace. I release and destroy my need to pick up the pace. So your vulture wants to ruin your experience. She's not saying the truth. She's saying what she knows you'll currently listen to. And it's never helpful to be told pick up the pace, right? The character isn't thinking pick up the pace. So it's okay that you would like a scene to, I guess, move the way real life moves, but release and destroy your need to pick up the pace. So she'll stop talking about that, right? The loving way to tell yourself that concept, because actors, there's nothing wrong with you going, wow, I really think I should get through this, and that's why I say, the words you throw away, you tumble through them. Let something bigger than you stop them. You don't stop them and color them. You let them fall out of your face at whatever speed they want to. Hope they get stopped by something bigger than you. And forgetting a line is a wonderful reason to get stopped, right? Because the moment you forget your line is the best moment of your audition, because then we've got a human sitting in front of us thinking, what should I say? We're projecting on you all the time. We're partners in your performance. So it's important to forget your lines sometimes so that we see you thinking. Every scene you're ever going to do is a scene about a woman who doesn't know what she's going to say. So the loving way in the future, I'd hope you'd say, is to tell your vulture, I've got all the time I want to do this scene. I give myself permission to take all the time in the world because it's the ninth take. But these words, I'm just going to throw them away. I'm going to tumble through them, hoping they get stopped by an interesting thought or feeling or concept that makes the words get caught in my throat, or hopefully I'll forget a line. Does that follow?
Yeah.
I think we covered everything you brought up that you said you didn't care for, correct? Was there anything else that your vulture said?
No.
And was there anything that felt better than usual based on what you're playing with here today or working on lately? Or is that just generally how your auditions go?
Yeah, I think that was a general run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I loved it. I don't have any notes for you. I thought it was a beautiful audition.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was just tremendous. I was deeply moved by it.
Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome. I don't need to see it again because I just thought it was phenomenal. But I'd love to talk to you more about anything that's been bothering you lately or anything you'd like to share based on hearing me say that.
It's interesting to me how your whole basis is on affirmation. And when you hear someone else say something to you, the feeling that you get, but if you could just say that to yourself before you actually even do the work, how that manifests in your body is really interesting. Obviously, that's the basis of your work, but it's just interesting. Like once you hear someone's experience watching it, and you're told that, how it like manifests in you, and then you feel differently, but it's just the practice of learning how to manifest that experience for yourself.
I think I follow what you're saying. I'm not sure, but
I think it's just what I'm saying is your whole basis is on the affirmations. Yes. And we don't need someone else to tell that to ourselves to be able to feel that way, is what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, I think what you're sharing is something that I always share with people, which is, you don't need me to say this stuff to you. You can say it to yourself, and you actually must. The great thing about the affirmations is they work instantly. They don't take any practice, and there's no distance to go to get your vulture to shut up. It says something mean, like, you're not right for this part. You say, I release and destroy my need to be right for the part. It goes, yeah, but you're not right for shit. It shuts up. When your vulture shuts up, the pressure you were feeling caused by the vulture comes off your shoulders, and you can shine your light and do a magnificent job. Now, when you first say the affirmations to yourself, it may only shut your vulture up for like 5 seconds or 10 seconds before it starts squawking again. But I guarantee you, the more you say my affirmations, and you should be saying them whenever your vulture squawks all day long, not waiting till you get to the audition, but the more you do them, the more your vulture shuts up. And I can now, and by the way, I had it worse than anyone out there. I wouldn't have created this whole system to get over my anxiety. I can now do a 5-minute long audition with 0 vulture squawking. Imagine the joy. And that is when you tend to book the job. Am I kind of talking around the concept that you just shared with me? Or
No, you hit it head on. That was exactly it.
Yeah, so print them out, say them to yourself, but I would also add they're not going to have much power till you've memorized them, because it means you haven't been saying them much. So I hope that whatever affirmation gets your vulture to shut up, say it so often that you just know it, you know? And then also, again, my affirmations are not sort of like painting pink paint over a shitty surface. They're a specific reply to something specific your vulture is saying. So it's very important that when you feel bad or anxious, that you ask your vulture, repeat what you just said, because I feel bad. That means you said something. She'll say it, and then you say what you need to say to let her know you're not interested, because your vulture is very tricky. Once it learns that you won't respond to, like, you're a terrible actress, you know, it'll start whispering that just sound true but make you feel pressure. It'll start whispering, okay, you got control of me, but, you know, don't forget these words. You know, it'll say very subtle things that put pressure on you. And any pressure is the enemy of the artist, of the actor. Okay?
Love. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Up next, say goodbye. Up next, we have Shaw. And so, hello, how are you? Nice to see you. You're doing Sandy, correct? You have to unmute your mic.
There, I did.
Okay, so Sandy is from an hour-long drama. And let me explain to everybody out there what's happening. And you and I haven't talked about this, but it's obvious in the text, is that Sandy's been having an affair with my character. And she decided that she would surprise him by sneaking into his house. She's in his bedroom naked to surprise him. But moments earlier, his daughter walked in and saw her boobs. And the daughter left. And then a moment later, the guy comes in. So let me know when you're ready. And I see that I have the first line. So whenever you're ready, let me know.
I'm ready.
Okay. What are you doing here?
I wanted to surprise you.
Okay, well, you surprised my daughter.
So that's Becca.
Yeah, that's Becca, all right.
I'm sorry, Hank. I should have called. You know, I just thought that.
Hey, look, I'm sorry too. In fact, maybe we should just think about cooling things off a little.
Excuse me?
Or not, either way, I'm easy.
Are you saying that you don't want to see me anymore?
That's not what I said.
You are amazing, Hank. After all that time that you spent sweet talking me into the sack, and now that you've exacted your revenge, you're just done with me?
Revenge? What are you talking about, revenge?
Oh, come on. Don't tell me there wasn't some satisfaction in fucking the wife of the man who made a big shitty movie out of your precious little book.
Well, when you put it that way.
What other way is there to put it, Hank?
Okay, good. I'm going to stop you there. I should warn everyone, we don't always get through the whole scene if a scene is longer. Okay, so good. What was your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was squawking?
Well, yes, it was the first time I had ever said the lines. And it was so hard for me to not plan or not to play the scene in my head as I learned the lines. It was painful. And I thought, I mean, I want to do it. I know it's there. I feel it. I don't know. It's very different. It's very
Yes.
different. I'm really aware.
You're referring to the way that I recommend to actors to approach drama acting. That's what, and it's not the way you used to.
No.
Yes, I understand.
No. I like marking up the script and having lots of notes all over there. And
the illusion of control.
It's an illusion.
Not to fail.
Yeah. And it makes it.
But that's why the last chapter of my book is the most important chapter. That's why it's last. It's the second most, I should say, which is the 5 concepts in order to have a reality where there's no such thing as failure, so that you don't need to create an illusion of safety or control. Right. But anyway, you said it's the first time you said the words out loud, so you memorized it silently in your head, right?
Yes.
Okay. But are you saying that even though you were just memorizing it silently, you did sort of form some concepts of how you might say it?
Yes. Yes, I saw it.
Yeah. But you're saying that in the performance, you committed, and you said it was hard. You committed to not going with your imagined way to do it, correct?
True. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll ask you this. Because you didn't do it the way you had envisioned it and hadn't said the words out loud, did you find that more things surprised you?
Yes, it was very different.
Oh. Did you know you can't fake spontaneity?
Yes.
Now we know why that was such a beautiful audition, because it sure was. I'm so proud of you. And can I give you we're going to do it again, but can I give you another way to verbalize it's hard? How about it's uncomfortable? Because I don't think it was hard. I think it was really uncomfortable. And guess what? That's exactly how acting is supposed to feel. Because an audience, when they watch a drama, wants to feel wildly uncomfortable. Watching this moment from this woman's life should be so uncomfortable the audience wishes they could leave the room. And
actually, Chuck, I thought this was a comedy.
It's a dramedy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you played it as such. But anyway, the only way the audience will feel uncomfortable, because acting runs on empathy, is if the actress feels uncomfortable. Okay. So you see, anything you do to make the audience or yourself comfortable in a drama is the antithesis of booking the role. That's why right before a drama scene, we go, I hope they feel so fucking uncomfortable watching this. And I'll do that by not taking care of the scene at all.
Yeah.
Because what you learned today is it works. It was beautiful. And again, to the people out there, when I'm preparing or memorizing, I should say, I never say the words out loud the way I might say them in the room until I'm in the room in front of the producers doing the audition. And that's a gift you give yourself, because your auditions become 100% spontaneous by definition. You don't have to pretend you haven't said them this way. You haven't. So when you're memorizing, tell your vulture, and now this is for you, Shaw, okay? Mm-hmm. Because you're still hearing line readings, and even though you're not saying them out loud, they are your enemy. So when you're memorizing, everyone has a vulture that goes, oh, say it like this. Yes. And you must tell your vulture, no, I don't want to know how I'm going to say it. I want to be surprised how the words come out the same way the character's surprised. So vulture, while I memorize, I'm just going to put all my focus on the words, what they literally mean, the idea of the line. And when you memorize like that, you're going to find that memorizing is so much easier, because it's very hard to memorize a line reading because you're not taking in the meaning of the line. but we focus on the meaning of the word so that we could paraphrase if we had to. It's not the goal. We're memorizing a word perfectly, wanting to say it word perfectly. But once you walk in the room, while you want to say it word perfectly, you shouldn't need to. Because, okay, so anyway, we've talked about this many times in other of these workshops. But so here's my notes for you. I love the scene. Was there anything your vulture started squawking?
No.
Okay, because what happened was it was never a bad audition, because what you did is you behaved as if it's really happening, and that's what makes you castable. Okay, and I believe that only about 20% of actors are doing it. So it was a lovely audition, but it was an issue of emotion, and I love that you wanted to feel. You know, the actor must want to feel, but you got to remember the character doesn't.
Right.
Nobody wants to yell. Nobody wants to cry. But what I recommend you do is have faith that there's a seed of anger, a seed of sadness, a seed of shame, a seed of disgust in your belly. The scene plugs into those seeds and makes them grow. You push them down. But when you push down a seed of sadness or anger, it grows stronger. You feel it more, and then the audience feels it more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's just my way of describing to you how you really experience life. That's not some acting technique. So I wish you had pushed it down, because you know, there's no exclamation point in this scene. Now, if you got surprised by yelling, that's wonderful. That was meant to happen. It's just that I felt you had a responsibility to show anger.
Yes.
Now, what you have to understand is that in a drama or dramedy, your vulture, all it wants to do is not get you the job. So it wants you to start making choices or muscling the scene. So it says things to you to make you start muscling the scene and making choices, which is what happened halfway through. And it used emotion to get you to do that. It said, here comes that emotional part, deliver. And then all of a sudden, it stopped being a great drama audition because you started making choices and muscling it.
It was a choice. It was a choice. Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, if you were, again, if you're surprised by yelling, that's fine, but I could tell it was a choice. You can't fake spontaneity, okay? So we're going to do it again. And I want you to, yes, want to feel, but remember the character doesn't. And the more important thing is what's literally obviously happening, which is a moment ago, a little girl came in and saw my tits.
Right.
And now my lover is walking in, and that had to happen. Great. And then we're doing an improv about me saying things to you didn't expect, which are going to make you say things you didn't expect. But we get from her reaction that she's not a little, how do I say it? She basically, I don't want to say anything that isn't in the literal circumstances, but we know that something behind excuse me is not what he maybe would have expected, but I think you completely understood that the first time. So please throw away what I just said. But we know that what else do I want to say? You're not an actress. None of us, we're not actors. We're just here to be you. Now listen, whenever I get told I have to do a scene again, part of me is thinking, I don't. It's a weird thing because it's so uncomfortable. I don't want to do the scene again. But guess what? Your character doesn't want to be in this moment of her life, does she? So you don't have to want to do the scene again.
Okay.
Because she doesn't want to be here. When I say don't make choices, but more importantly, allow them to happen, what I really mean is go farther down the road of not making choices than you ever have. Go farther down the road of throwing the words away than you ever have, hoping we feel so fucking uncomfortable watching it. We're going to ask you some questions so you can remember how you really think and communicate. And then I'm going to start the scene. And the goal is to bring right into the scene how you really think and communicate. And let go of any way you ever thought to do the scene, because the director said, I already have it. This one's for you. When you were younger, what was something embarrassing you used to wear?
Homemade clothes.
But did you ever have something you thought was really cool? And looking back, you're like, I can't believe I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I had something that was a jumper that probably looked like a Girl Scout outfit.
Why?
Why did I like it?
Why did it look like a Girl Scout outfit?
Oh, it was kind of khaki.
Lean back in the chair. We're starting. What are you doing here?
I thought I'd surprise you.
Okay, well, you surprised my daughter.
So that's Becca.
Yeah, that's Becca. That's Becca, all right.
I'm sorry, Hank. I should have called. I just thought that
You know, I'm sorry too. In fact, I think maybe we should just think about cooling things off a little bit.
Excuse me?
Or not. Hey, I'm easy. Either way.
You don't want to see me anymore?
I didn't, that's not what I said.
You are amazing, Hank. You spend all that time sweet-talking me to get me into the sack. And now that you've exacted your revenge, you're done with me?
What are you talking about, revenge?
Oh, come on. You cannot tell me that you didn't get a little bit of satisfaction.
All right, good. Anything you want to share about your experience of that?
Much easier.
Well,
Much more fun.
Good, I'm glad. And what I would just say is this, that when I say don't make choices, but I always say, but more importantly, allow them to happen to you. And the reason why things will happen to you is that you put circumstances in your belly. If you don't have circumstances, nothing's going to happen. And so while I liked that audition, I did kind of want more to happen to you. And it's because I don't feel that you made the circumstances in your belly very important. Now, you put circumstances in your belly, mean you throw them away. You're not stupid. You don't put circumstances in your head, or you're going to feel a responsibility to show those circumstances to the audience. But the circumstances are, I'm fucking naked and a little girl just walked in. That is why I asked you to talk about something that's kind of embarrassing. And I really enjoyed that opening, right? But then how does that feel to be lying in bed naked in front of someone that's telling you, I don't want your fucking body anymore? I mean, anything could happen. And when we stop making things happen, then our hands aren't over here taking care of the scene. They're here in front of us, open and ready to receive gifts of interesting thoughts and concepts and images that could create emotional reactions, you know? And I just felt you weren't open to receiving many gifts simply because you have to want to. And I call it having my tentacles out when I'm acting, to receive gifts. Now, it was a very good audition. I just thought you put don't make choices as a little more important than, because more importantly, I want to allow them to happen. Yeah? Because a scene is never about the words. The words you throw away, it's about what's happening in the scene.
Right.
And what a delicious improv to expect to be having passionate sex and instead have a little girl see your tits and then be told, fuck you, get out of my life.
Yeah.
But being the kind of person who isn't a victim, who would respond with, oh my God, but would go, holy fuck. Fucking bastard. You know? And fuck you if you ever look at these tits again. And who knows what might come to you. It's supposed to be different every time. The thoughts are meant to be different every time and to surprise you in the performance. But again, lovely work. And I tell you, when you watch back your very first one today, you're going to be so excited to continue down this road of please not planning the performance in a drama, because it was electric and lovely right from the start.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Take care. Thank you.
You too.
Okay, up next we have Diane. I'm looking for her now. There you are. Hi, Diane. Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you. It says here you're doing Heidi.
I am.
And Heidi is a filmed half-hour comedy. And Heidi has a roommate. And in this scene, it says Heidi knocks on her roommate's bedroom door to talk with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just start when you're ready. I see you have the first line.
Okay. You have a minute?
Not really.
Okay.
What? Wait, what? What?
No, I'm not sure how to say it, so I'm just gonna say it.
So say it.
Well, I need to think about the best way to phrase it.
Just say it.
It's a little uncomfortable, and I need to find the right words.
Okay, how about I don't have time for this.
Nope, that is not it.
Speak!
You're a twat.
Ow, harsh.
I know. Well, that's why I needed to find the right words.
Why am I a twat?
Well, I should explain it. Okay.
That'd be helpful.
Okay. I do not appreciate your telling people that I am a limited person. I am not limited. I am special.
That's another way to put it.
Okay, see that right there?
I'm going to stop you. Good. What's your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was saying?
Oh, a little bit. Like, oh, that sounds weird to hear the words and like, what's going on?
Okay. How about if we be aware that we're always going to hear ourselves talking and that acting is weird. It's weird. And humans, more importantly, are weird. In a comedy, you're tickling yourself with your own genuine, spontaneous, weird human behavior. But don't let your vulture get involved when you have an actor thought of going, oh, I heard that. Don't let your vulture start going, yes, and here's my judgment call on that.
Yeah.
You know? So I release and destroy my need to not sound weird. And then your vulture can't talk about how that sounded weird. Like, good. I hope I sound weird. It's a fucking comedy. Anything else your vulture said?
Like, ooh, it's been so long. You can't do this anymore.
Yeah. I release and destroy my need to know how to do this. I am not an actress. I'm just here to be me and enjoy playing in the circumstances.
Yeah.
But the truth about acting is when you live your life, you become a better actor. There is no such thing as rusty. That is a complete trick teachers use to keep you in class, or it's a trick your vulture uses to convince you that acting's hard. But you knew how to act when you were 3 years old. You know, so playing pretend is that easy. So I release and destroy. Well, I already went over it. Okay, anything else your vulture was saying? Oh, by the way, that's so important. Your vulture wants you to put the scene far away and say you can't get there. And it did that this time to you by saying, well, you can't get there because it's been too long. You're rusty, right? So that's why my affirmation, I'm going to take it from where I am, is so important, because your vulture uses so many different ploys to get you to put the scene over there. But I'm going to just take it from where I am.
Yeah.
However I'm feeling, however prepared I am, is a fine place to begin the scene. I'm about to begin the scene, so I can't have been acting more. I trust that everything's happening in my life as it was meant to happen. So I'm relaxed, trusting in a higher plan that's unfolding for me, and I forgive myself unconditionally. I'm a good person and good people make mistakes. These are all the things that I'm saying to my vulture to get him, I have a boy vulture, to get him to shut up about how I'm not where I need to be. Anything else you want to share?
That was a lot of sharing. I think that's...
Okay. I thought it was adorable, but I did not feel you were behaving as if it's really happening because, and mind you, you can make choices and muscle moments in a filmed half-hour comedy. So I had no problem with the fact that you were doing that. It was that you forgot something important, but no big deal. You forgot that you always want to remind yourself right before a scene, oh, if this was really happening, that means I don't know what he's going to say and I don't know what I'm going to say. Because it felt a bit that you knew what I was going to say and you knew what you were going to say.
Yeah.
And if you forget that concept, it makes behaving as if it's really happening very difficult.
Correct.
Because, again, I just wish you had forgotten your lines. And meanwhile, you were probably like, don't forget your lines. But you see, every scene you're going to do is basically a scene about somebody thinking out loud. Somebody hearing something for the first time, then saying something for the first time. And it's even in her first line, she says, I'm not sure how to say this. That means you don't know. You really don't.
That's why it's perfect. Yeah.
So we're good. So
yes.
Again, you're adorable and I liked it, but let's remember this time, we've already seen it that way. So now you can just really do the 9th take where the director says, oh my God, whatever, I don't care. Also, you don't take it from where you are. So however much your heart's racing is fine. But listen, part of you doesn't want to do it again. Well, I guarantee you, Heidi does not want to do this. She does not want to knock on this door and come in this room. Release and destroy your need to be funny. But you are here to tickle yourself with your own genuine human behavior when your circumstances are that you've been really hurt by her, but you're the kind of person who's so needs to like know the perfect way to say things. It's kind of a funny circumstance to like want to tell somebody else, but I'm also so neurotic. I have to know the right way to say it first.
Exactly.
Because you know what I mean? Put that in your belly, throw it away. You're not stupid. I just said something very obvious. The literal circumstances are always obvious. I'm going to talk to you about your life so we can get rid of the moment when the scene begins and you have to act. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions so you can remember how you really think and communicate.
Yeah.
Then in the middle of it, I'm going to say start the scene. The goal is to bring right into the scene how you really think and communicate.
Okay.
Fuck it, right? Fuck it, right?
Okay.
Like, when you were younger, did you have to have anything set up in your bedroom a certain way?
Well, my sister was really a slob, and so she would leave and I'd try to straighten up, and then she'd come back and slop it up again.
What was a specific thing, though, that you hated if it was messy?
Oh, well, everything. The desk, because we had 2 desks. One was hers, and the bed, her shit was all over the bed. And
When you were younger, was there something about your hair that had to be a very certain specific way?
Only because my mother used the blue stuff. She used to be.
So fuck it. It's an improv about knocking and then entering a room that belongs to your roommate. So here we go.
Okay. Hey, do you have a minute?
Oh, not really.
Okay.
What?
Well, I don't really know how to say this, so I'm just gonna say it.
So say it.
Okay. Well, I gotta think about the right phrase.
Just say it.
No, but it's a little uncomfortable because I need to
Good.
find.
I'm going to stop you. And I want to ask you, did you ever work with a coach who talked about how it's about you and your scene partner and the relationship between you?
Yes.
It's not, in my opinion, the way we really experience life. And so if you have a need to do the following, these are not my words, but connect with your scene partner or affect your scene partner, it's going to make behaving as if it's really happening tricky, because in real life, we're so much more selfish than that. Yeah. We're here in our brains thinking out loud. Every scene you're ever going to do is a scene about somebody thinking out loud. So we don't, okay? And that's, look, this is my opinion. But I've worked a shit ton, and a lot of the teachers teaching that approach never worked at all. And so in my opinion, it's not really a healthy way to approach acting. There's some truth to what they're saying, but the emphasis they put on it, to me, is incorrect. So anyway, what was I going to say?
Be selfish.
You don't have to look at me. You can look at me if you want to, but you don't have to. Whenever you want to, your eyes will do what they normally do when you're entering a room of somebody who's been very cruel to you, but you're sort of terrified of, and you don't want to say it the wrong way because you're somebody who desperately needs to be liked or to get it right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But another thing I want to share with everybody is a scene is never about the words. If you think it's about the words, you're going to end up racing through the scene and like it's a narrow hallway. I want you to understand that you can break down those walls that you feel constrict you and instead see the scene as an improv, where it's a big, wide open playing field where anything can happen. And these are just the words, but anything could happen in terms of thoughts, feelings, sound, movement. In other words, this is a sandbox you're playing in, because your job isn't to show us the way the scene will look. It's to discover in front of us one of the many ways the scene could look. So take all the time you want, because I guarantee you she doesn't want to storm in. So please, don't do it any way you ever thought to do it, which means don't physicalize it the way you keep physicalizing it either. Here we go.
Do you have a minute?
What? Yeah, no, not really.
Okay.
No, what?
No, I'm not sure how to say this, so I'm just going to say it.
Just say it.
Okay. I need to find the right phrase. My brain has to.
Just say it.
It's a little uncomfortable because I need to just find the right words.
Okay, how about, I don't have time for this.
No, that is not it.
Speak!
You're a twat!
Wow, harsh.
That is why I had to find the right words.
Why am I a twat?
Well, I should tell you that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay, because.
Okay, so What was your experience that time?
Oh, that was very fun. And I just wanted to get that shit out.
I think what you're trying to say with what you just said is that time I felt more as if I was behaving as if it's really happening.
Yeah, because you
Well,
were there.
that's the definition of acting. That was phenomenal, fucking phenomenal, and so funny. And if you watch that back, you wouldn't remember any of that. You'd be like, I don't remember saying that like that. I don't remember my face doing that. But you're under the illusion that a human can create a good performance, and we can't. If a human controls the audition, it can only ever be about a 5 out of 10. But if you let something bigger than you, your higher power, your racing heart, it could be a 10 out of 10. Our ideas about how to say the lines are never good. Why? Because we came up with them when our heart wasn't racing. When your heart's racing, the line readings that come to you are fucking brilliant. That's why I never plan line readings. For a comedy, I might plan some, not in a filmed half hour, but a sitcom, I plan some line readings. But I wait till I've arrived at the audition when my heart is racing and I'm plugged into my higher power, not at home the night before. If your heart isn't racing, any line idea, any concept is going to be poor because it's result-oriented and not joyful. Phenomenal. That's the difference between showing what it'll look like and fucking behaving as if it's really happening. And when you
like it.
Yes, I know, and it was easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, acting's easier than the other thing they want us to do, the result-oriented teachers. Acting's actually so much more easier and fun.
That always makes me want to cry. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're going to love to see that last one back. Okay, so up next, and we're going to, after this one, this is Alexander. After this one, we're going to just take a really short break, like really short. But we are going to do, hello. How are you? Your mic is on mute.
Part of the disaster behind me where I'm stuck in Dominican Republic fighting the internet.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's awesome, though. This is very exciting. What a beautiful scenery behind you. Are you doing a monologue?
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm doing the scene. I'm playing Wesley in the medium scene.
Oh, got it. And it's up now. I have it with me. For everybody out there, this is an
Cool.
hour-long drama. What? This is an hour-long drama. Wesley, his father just died. And I'm a psychic. This is from the TV show Medium. He's come home from the funeral, I believe, and I'm knocking on the door of his house. And that's the background of this scene. So you let me know when you're ready, because I have the first line.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Mr. King, how you doing?
Sorry, my mom's not here. Why don't you come back a little later?
Oh, that's okay. I came to see you. I have a message. There's things that your dad wanted to say to you through me.
Look, I don't want to offend you. I just I'm not really a believer, okay? Plus, my father wouldn't want to call himself my dad.
Okay, well, when you were 5, you and your father were alone off the court of Virgin Gorda. You got up on a rail, slipped, hit your head on a winch, and needed 7 stitches.
Yeah, and there's a scar on my forehead that you can see. Look, seriously, my mom's coming back in a bit. Why don't you just...
When your dad picked you up and saw the blood on your face, he said, suck it up. You got to taste blood to be a man.
Oh. Okay. Why don't we talk inside?
I know all this is a little strange, but the dead do watch the living.
I'm not ready to judge one way or another, but did my father say anything else?
Mostly that he misjudged you. He's been watching you and how you've handled it, kept the family together, and he's proud.
don't believe it.
It's the truth, Wes.
Scotch?
No thanks. Blocks the vibes.
I'm sorry. I'm just shocked. You don't really need vibes to know that he was like a Vito Corleone, and he saw me as a Fredo. He, Godfather.
Yeah.
I could always feel his glare on me. I could never do right in my work, my school, my major in college, the women I dated.
Okay, good. I'm going to stop you there. What was your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for, or anything your vulture was saying?
Yes, it's somewhere between a vulture and acting and the actor thought, where I'm so worried about this failing in terms of the communication, whatever, and that's what I'm thinking, and I can't go to the place I want to go.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, and because of that, I just keep getting the oh no, I couldn't hear that line, so I have to try to remember. It's just I got lost.
Well, that's
in the
separate.
place,
That's
but,
separate. That's separate. Me going out and you not hearing what I said to you is very different than the first thing. So anyway, did anything feel better than usual based on what you're working on, or based on what you're working on today with me?
Yes, I was able to see the scenario the whole time, which is unusual. Usually I leave. Like I was able to stay with the scenario of like losing your dad type of thing the whole time. So that was very useful in this. I just I need to tone it down. I need to just not not freak out as much if you will. I need to not freak out as much if you will.
Okay, so freak out is, I believe, your way of saying let my vulture squawk.
Yeah.
And you said I need to do what? Something about calm down, or what did you say?
Yeah, then I need to tone it down. Like
okay,
I need
tone
to
it down.
breathe.
No, you don't need to tone it down. Is a scene about finding out that the afterlife exists and your father's been watching you? No. So tone it down isn't. I want you to be careful how you explain your reality to yourself, because you're using words that aren't necessarily healthy. So no, you don't need to tone it down. You need to get your vulture to shut up. That's all.
Right.
That's all you're saying. And then you said, you started by saying that because you were worried about the connection, it was hard for you to go there. I would love for you to let go of a concept of go there. It's very unhealthy. You are there.
Right.
You're always there. The best moment of your scene is the moment when you forget a line. But you see, every actor thinks the actors going into the audition room before him are doing brilliant things with this scene. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So we go in and we start acting with a capital A and talking too loud for the room. And when you hear that through the door, you go, holy shit. If I just went in there and just said the words, I'd be better than that actor who's tap dancing to save his life. And when you're the person who doesn't get involved in that bullshit, making strong choices crap, you're the breath of fresh air. Right?
Yeah.
So say to yourself, I'm always there. I don't need to get there, because yes, we don't want to have thoughts that aren't aligned with the scene. And having the thought in your head, am I going to lose my connection, is an understandable thought to have while you're doing this scene. But we just don't really want it there. But if it's there, it's there. And I guarantee you, they can't read your mind. They cannot read your thoughts. Yeah. And any actor thought, like, I hope we don't lose this connection, is just going to end up coloring the scene in an interesting way. Yeah. Because once you say, I'm going to take it from where I am, if I'm having thoughts about the connection, that's fine. Then guess what? You have a lot less concern about the connection. But your vulture wants to go, you're not supposed to have thoughts about the connection. And then you start going, oh God, now,
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain this. I once had an audition where I've never had an audition this powerful. I made the director cry. When I was done, she had to go like this and wipe the tears off her face. Now, the truth is, throughout the scene, I kept having the thought, I wish my belt wasn't so tight. But because I knew that she can't read my mind, I didn't let it bother me, and I was still able to behave as if it's really happening. And you see, so you said, I wish I didn't have those thoughts so I could go there. What I'd recommend instead is say, look, it's fine if those thoughts are there. Don't focus on them, but don't need to go there, and instead put behaving as if it's really happening as the most important thing. And that's fucking easy to do. Then you talked about how, the second thing we talked about was you said,
you said don't call it toning down because that's a negative way of looking at it.
We talked about three things. We started with the concept that you were worried about the connection. Then you were, that's right, you were worried that you didn't hear a line. And so could you, what was it you said?
Right, I might miss something, so.
I understand. Well, look, that's understandable. It's understandable. So anyway, I hope that helps you. I think you're using words that make your reality just more difficult, and where there's all these opportunities for failure. So I gave you the way to verbalize it so that it's easier and there's no such thing as failure. Now, I want to say to everybody, it was such a delicious opening of the scene. And it's what I call a great drama scene, is when the casting person looks up and goes, oh, he's acting? I thought we were still just talking. So I'm telling you, it was a lovely audition, and I loved that opening moment because I literally thought you were still just talking to me. So I see that you're not making choices, but instead allowing them to happen. And I see that you're doing a lot of the things we talk about, and it's making you have a very lovely audition. Is there anything else that felt better than usual based on what you're working on? Or
No, it definitely felt like it was still flowing. I think the losing the connection thing is so unusual for me that's what stood out. But otherwise, I was able to like do the scene and not worry about what you think about the scene, which was nice for me,
Can you hold on one moment? Somebody wants to enter the theater. Somebody wants to enter the waiting room, and it means that Tara, would you be willing? You've already performed or not? Has Tara performed? I'm going to. Sorry about this, guys. Tara, can you exit the studio so the next person can come in? Because you already performed, right? No, you haven't performed. Okay. Then whoever's waiting, you will get in. I promise. Okay, can you just repeat, Alexander, the very last thing you said?
That I felt good because I wasn't worrying about what anyone was thinking. The scene was just happening.
So what you're saying is you had less vulture squawking than you used to.
Yes.
Less vulture squawking about you better get them to like you, or I wonder if they like this. And that will never come back because you're saying the correct thing to your vulture to let it know I'm not interested in that. So that's amazing and incredible. Could you imagine? I'm so proud of you. Now you use the word flow. I really hope you won't ever use the word flow, because any word that's a quality or a result-oriented word is your vulture. Therefore, you can ignore it. It's an illusion. It will never help you to better behave as if the scene is really happening, to have a thought about a concept called flow.
Right.
But you really want to talk about this concept of present. I'm supposed to be a thing called present and in it.
Yeah.
So please let go of that concept, because acting isn't real. Acting is behaving as if it's really happening. Acting is totally fake. And whatever part of you is still kind of wanting to worry about these things to make it real is keeping your hands busy. And the moment you go, nah, I don't have to worry about any of that shit, then your hands are free and open in front of you, ready to receive gifts of images, thoughts, and concepts aligned with really fucking being in these circumstances. Okay? So again, I thought it was a very nice audition. There was a couple moments where the literal circumstances were saying one thing where I felt like you were saying you were going through something different. And in particular, the moment when there's an improv where you find out, holy fuck, this must mean that my dad is a ghost and this person, because your character begins this scene not believing in psychics or ghosts.
Not believing in anything. Right.
And then there's a delicious improv where I say, takes blood to be a man, and you say, oh, period, okay, period, maybe we should talk inside. That's an improv about finding out the dead do live on as ghosts.
I got it.
So you want to put those circumstances in your belly. Trust that if you do nothing, that's better than you showing us those circumstances. That's why I say put the circumstance in your belly and just do an improv about finding that out. But if nothing happens, it's better than what you would put there. So I want to show you guys this concept, this clip, because I was very pleased that you weren't over to making too many choices, but I did think you started muscling the scene and making choices. And the reason why you don't have to is because if nothing happens, it's great. The audience will project on a blank space. So I'm going to show you the most famous close-up in the history of cinema. It's from the end of Greta Garbo's Queen Christina. Now, it's considered the most famous close-up because of the power of it, but the truth is the director told her to keep her face blank, to do nothing, because he knew an audience would project upon that. So I'm going to show that to you guys now, just so you can see why and how an audience projects upon a blank space and how powerful it is. So here we go. Now, this was considered to be the most famous close-up in the history of cinema because of the power of it. She's looking out at the war she lost and the lover she left behind. And if instead she'd done something like this, you know, then it would just be another crappy close-up. That's why you don't have to make choices, because if nothing happens, it's fucking brilliant. I'm not pointing the right way. But again, once you realize that if nothing happens, it's better than what you would put there, then you really do let that panic make a choice spot go away. You let it pass you by, and instead you leave a blank space in the magic moment, which is the space in which the universe can send you a gift of an image or a thought or a concept that you could have an emotional reaction to. So we're going to start at the line, me saying when your dad picked you up and saw the blood on your face, okay? No, we'll start from me when I say, you got up, when I say when you were 5, you and your dad were alone. Do you know where that is? When you're 5, you and your dad were alone. That's where we're starting. And I want you to not only tell yourself, I don't have to make any choices, which by the way is liberating, because all responsibility is off your shoulders, and instead you just get to see what happens to you. Okay. But tell yourself, I'm going to go further down the road of not making choices than I ever have, knowing the words I can throw away, and that I hope they feel fucking uncomfortable watching this. And I'll do that by not taking care of it at all. When we're going to talk about your life so you can remember how you really think and communicate. We'll bring that right into the scene. When you were younger, where would you go to be alone?
My room, because I would pick the farthest room from everyone.
And that means let go of any way you thought to do the scene, because you're going to bring right into the scene how you really think and communicate. Was there a class you dreaded going to?
Math, like a lot of people.
How did it feel to have to go there?
It just took a little second.
Starting the scene, when you were 5, you and your dad were on a sailboat, you hit your head on a winch, you needed 7 stitches.
Yeah, and I have a big scar on my forehead that you can see. Look, why don't you come back later? My mom's coming back.
When your dad picked you up and saw the blood on your face, he said, suck it up, boy, you have to taste blood to be alive.
Oh. Okay, why don't you come back? Why don't you come inside? We should talk inside.
I know all of this can be strange, but the dead do watch the living.
I'm not ready to judge one way or another, but did my father say anything else?
Mostly that he misjudged you. He's been watching you, how you've handled the family, how you've kept it all together, and he's proud.
I don't believe it.
It's the truth, guys.
Scotch?
No, thanks. It blocks the vibes.
I'm sorry, I'm just shocked. You don't really need vibes to know that my father, he was like a Vito Corleone. He saw me as a Fredo, like the Godfather.
Yeah.
I could never do right. He always had his glare on me. My work, my school, my major in college, the women I dated.
Not anymore. He told me that he specifically wouldn't have anyone else run the family. Whatever objections he had are gone. He wants you to take control of his legacy. He sees himself in you in a way he never did before.
If you see my father again, can you tell him okay?
Good. What's your experience of it? Was that
Yeah.
easier?
Yeah, that was the act of not doing anything causes your brain to fly. I don't know. It's just funny. It's interesting.
That's called freedom. The freedom you always have when you're vultures and squawking result-oriented garbage.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's easier. That was easier and also more fun. What could be more fun than flying? I call acting in a drama jumping out into darkness and trusting a net will catch me. And the net to catch you is that there's no way to fail in acting. However it goes, it was meant to go. You're just playing.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
That was so damn powerful.
Thank you.
I felt the first couple lines, you were a little unclear on the obvious literal circumstances. No big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal. But holy fuck, did you get this scene after that? And if you watch that back, which you can, it's going to be on YouTube, you're going to be blown away by what was happening on your face. See, in a drama, the camera's here. It sees and feels everything you're going through. It sees a new thought pass behind your eyes. So what needs to happen in a drama? Maybe a new thought passes behind your eyes. And boy, did they. You had some pretty powerful concepts come to you. And the camera sees everything. It's enough. Your experience is enough. But if you're muscling in and making choices and trying to fulfill a scene, it's not appropriate for a drama and they won't call you back again for their show. Beautiful work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, enjoy whatever incredible place you're at. Okay, so we are taking a very brief break. And then up next is Alex Ringler. So, yes, I see you there. So I will be right back. Hello, everybody. We're back. Alex, you're up. And
Hello.
Hello, how are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You're doing a sitcom, and this is like the lead of a sitcom.
Oh, okay.
And it says that Adam, your character, has just moved to a new city, and he's rented a desk at one of those WeWork spaces where people can rent an office, and it says Adam walks in sort of unsure where to go and sees a young woman and approaches. So again, for everybody out there, this is a sitcom audition and you have the first line. So whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Okay. Hey, I'm Adam. This is my first time at a WeWork, so just how does WeWork work?
I just grab a desk and you just grab a desk and you do what you do. And what do you do?
I'm a cartoonist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So what, like animation stuff?
No, strip. Cartooning, strip cartooning. I'm not telling you to strip because this is a workplace and I just met you.
Yeah, I usually like to know a person first before I strip for them.
Me too. So yeah, I do like old school 1-4 panel cartoons loosely based on me. It's called Bro. Maybe you've heard of it. It's about a single guy living in Seattle, which is where I was living, but then my almost fiance decided she didn't want to almost marry me. So I moved back here to Portland, and this is way more info than you wanted.
So you're like the guy that draws Snoopy?
Oh, he's like super rich and sadly no longer with us, but yeah.
Oh, are you going to be in the Oregonian now? Because I love reading the Sunday comics.
Funny thing, my stuff is all online, which is way better actually because newspapers are dying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, online is where it's at. I have like 40,000 subscribers. So yeah, pretty cool. What do you do?
I'm a newspaper reporter.
Of course.
I'm kidding. I'm a YouTube star.
Oh, very funny.
Okay, good. Let's talk about your experience of doing that. Anything come up you don't care for? Anything vulture squawking?
Not too bad. If anything, like I was a little worried about like hearing words kind of like Alexander was before, but other than that, I was just trying to, like you say, behave like it's not like it's really happening. I feel like the circumstances have a certain amount of nerves that I can work with, and yeah, so I think for me it was pretty even, or yeah, I felt pretty good about it, I would say.
And did anything feel better than usual based on what you're working on?
Yeah, I actually I hadn't really put too much emphasis on. Normally when I rehearse things, I would like kind of over rehearse them and try to like really kind of get how I'm going to do it in my mind. And even as I received these sides or started rehearsing them, someone rehearsing with me was like, "You want to do it again?" I was like, "I don't want to do it too much. I want to like make sure I have like a little bit of I want it to be memorized." And I think I got to a good place memorization wise. And when I got there, I wanted to like not over rehearse it so that I could be more in the scene and just kind of not bringing too many choices in from like previous readings of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I would just be careful to let go of this concept of being in the scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you're always in the scene, and the moment you forget your line's the best moment of your audition. So are you in the scene then? Of course, because you're always in the scene. Being in the scene makes acting very much harder than just behaving. True. Oh, it's not enough to behave as if it's really happening. You've got to be really in the scene. And that's how teachers get us. Because boy, oh boy, are there a lot of work they can give you and result-oriented techniques and 15-step guidelines and note-taking in order to earn the right to really be in the scene. And so it's a very dangerous way of looking at it. And so basically you're saying is you did a little less rehearsing this time than you might normally. Did you find?
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And did you find that because of that, you got to be more surprised by how the scene came out? Because
I think so. Since it's a sitcom, there were some lines that I definitely kind of like, oh, I have to, like, even it says so in the script at the beginning. It's like he's trying to be cute here. So I was like, okay, like you kind of think about how that's going to be and come up when it happens.
Well, I was really just curious whether you had more surprises in the scene because of the less rehearsal you did.
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, was that fun to be surprised by how a certain line came out?
Yeah, it is. And having worked with you before, like that kind of like made me want to not drill it and drill it and drill it, which I know I'm like, you know, I come from the dance world, and that is very much like perfect, perfect, perfect. And you can't,
Yeah,
you know.
you really have to give yourself permission to hate every dance instructor you ever worked with, because you will
Yeah.
use their voice, even if it was a loving voice, you'll use their voice to beat yourself up in your acting. And
Completely.
dance and acting are very different.
Very different.
Okay, so anyway, I thought it was a good audition because you were behaving as if it's really happening, and that's what makes us castable, you know? And so kudos to that. And I thought you had pretty good scene comprehension. To me, I just felt like I wanted you to be tickling yourself more with your genuine human behavior, because that's what makes a comedy a comedy. And people say, well, then what's sitcom style? And the answer's simple. Lots of spontaneous human behavior. And to do that, you want to have slightly higher stakes in your belly. This isn't a guest star role where you want to have really high stakes. Because in sitcom, the guest stars, whatever's happening in their scene, it's very important.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I thought you could have had higher stakes, because high stakes in your belly, not your head. High stakes in your head just make the actor think they have to show a bigger, louder scene. No, high stakes in your belly makes more of your behavior come out of you.
Okay.
And you're tickling yourself with all this genuine human behavior. And then it gets into a scene comprehension issue, which is why I think that we didn't get more spontaneous human behavior from you. And it's because I think you didn't make the literal obvious circumstances very important.
Okay.
Now we know he either thinks she's cute, or he's the kind of person that really wants to impress people. Now I'm guessing he thinks she's cute.
Yeah.
So it's an improv about, as it says, unsure of where to go. Now you skipped that improv, but another actor would do it. He'd have faith that he's walking around looking where to go, but having no idea. Now, because it's a sitcom, you don't kind of not know where to go. You really have no fucking idea where to go, so that some of your adorable human behavior comes out of you. Then you see a cute woman. She's not kind of cute. She's pretty damn cute, and you're going to ask her something. It's an improv about asking her something, and then she's going to say things you didn't expect, which is going to make you say things you didn't expect, you know? But then we're going to, as the scene continues, we keep seeing him try to impress her. He wants to say, because he thinks she's cute, he'd like to kiss her, but then he's going to keep fucking putting his foot in his mouth.
Okay.
So an improv about, damn, she's cute, and I'm kind of want to impress, and then, oh, that did not come out right, or I said the wrong thing, and I'm tickling myself with my genuine human behavior all through that.
Okay.
You talked about how you, I'm going to just take a moment to share this. You talked about how you did less rehearsal. Well, I do no rehearsal for a sitcom, and I wish you would do no rehearsal except this. What I do is, when I get to I make sure to get to a sitcom audition a half hour early, so I have time to do the result-oriented preparation I do in a sitcom, because you can pre-plan line readings. You can make some choices, though I don't pre-plan every line. But when my heart's racing because I'm about to do the audition, and I say to the universe, send me gifts of ideas while I'm doing my scene comprehension, as I always do right before an audition, then the universe sends me line readings, and I might try them out, quietly to myself. But if something tickles me, I don't run to the bathroom and practice it full out. No, I go, okay, this tickles me. I'm going to enact this line this way, but I'm looking forward to doing it full out for the first time in front of them to see what happens. Now, there's nothing wrong with rehearsing it full out if you want to, but I'm just letting you know, I would even go further down the road you're going and not run it with someone, but instead just play with it, see what line readings come up. And you can also say, look, I'm going to enact this line just like this. But other lines, you can be like, I might do this line reading, but universe, if you got something better, give it to me. I'm going to hold this idea lightly, because if something better comes, I'd much rather go with what is delivered to me in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So I want to get rid of the moment when the scene begins by talking to you about your life, just so you can remember how you really think and communicate. And then in the middle of us talking, I'm going to say, start the scene, and I want you to have faith that you've just entered a WeWork space in a new city where you're not kind of unsure, you're really fucking unsure where to go, but just want to be affected by that circumstance. You don't feel any
Okay.
responsibility to show me what the scene will look like in the finished product because you've already done that perfectly. Now the director said, oh God, whatever, just play. Just want to surprise yourself. Take all the time you want. You have permission to do it badly. You're just here to tickle yourself with your own genuine human behavior.
Okay.
When you were younger, what were your favorite foods?
Favorite foods? I liked boring food like regular Cheerios, and I ate fruit a lot, I think.
Was there any dessert that fucking blew your mind? And by the way, you can act this scene from your 8-year-old self.
I was never a sweet tooth though, so I would always eat pretzels, and that was my go-to like snacky food. I would just do
And
that,
how about a video game that you were obsessed with?
Definitely Mario. Probably
Why
the
was that
third
so
one.
fucking awesome?
Yeah. What's
Why
that?
was Mario so fucking awesome?
I don't know. It was the third one. I think on SNES. It was just like the animation was really fun, and the levels were hard, and the secret
Did you have
passageways
a
you got to
birthday
go to
party
were
that
really
you
fun.
rocked? Did you ever have a
What's
birthday
that?
party? Did you ever have a birthday party that was amazing that you were excited about, or a birthday cake?
Yeah,
No, not
I had one at Golf and Sunsplash that was like a pizza party. I always got mad because my birthday's in the winter and I couldn't have a pool party because all the pools were closed.
Did you love swimming back then?
Yeah, I like swimming a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So fuck it, just take it from where you are.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hi, I'm Adam. This is my first time at a WeWork space. So how does this WeWork work? Sorry.
Oh, no, it's here simple. You just grab a desk and do what you do. What do you do?
I'm a cartoonist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So what, like animation stuff or?
No, strip. Cartooning, strip cartooning. I'm not telling you to strip. This is a workplace and I just met you. So
Yeah, no, I usually like to know someone longer before I start stripping for them.
yeah, me too. Yeah, so I do old school like 1 to 4 panel cartoons, loosely based on me. It's called Bro. Maybe you've heard of it. It's about a guy living in Seattle, and that's where I was living actually. But then my almost fiance decided she didn't want to almost marry me, so then I moved back to Portland, and this is way more information than you wanted.
Oh, so what? You're like the guy that draws Snoopy, or?
Oh yeah, that guy's super rich and sadly no longer with us. But yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be in the Oregonian because I love the Sunday comics.
Now, funny thing, my stuff is actually all online, which is way better actually because newspapers.
Good. What's your experience of that?
It was better. I think.
Why was it better?
Yeah, I know you don't like the word flow, but it like kind of flowed a little better.
Well,
Even the
is
stuff.
another way to say it flowed better that you were more behaving as if it's really happening?
Yeah, I
And
think,
why
and
talk about
it
the
just felt
result of the
easier. I
scene?
think.
Yeah. Acting, whenever it's easier, it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Because acting's fucking easy. It's uncomfortable, but it's really easy. But
Yeah.
I hope that you'll say I release and destroy. I need to have scenes have flow. Because if there's anything this scene doesn't have, it shouldn't have flow because it's a scene about constantly putting your fucking foot in your mouth.
Yeah.
But I think what you mean is that when you're not behaving as if a scene is really happening, you experience it as not having a thing that you call flow. But I would just release and destroy your need to have flow and instead just say, I just want to behave as if it's really happening. And if I am, I'm happy. It's not really happening. As a matter of fact, I know that's Jack, but I have faith that he's a cute girl. I know that I'm in my home, but I have faith that I'm in a WeWork space.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, cool.
So I thought that was a much better audition, but I still would love more tickling yourself.
Okay.
No, more tickling yourself. And the reason why you may have a hard time still experiencing stakes is that I still think you're having a little bit of an issue with the scene comprehension. Now, scene comprehension is super easy because it's always fucking obvious. And we went over it, which is I really have no fucking idea where to go. And then I see a cute girl. And so I'm going to approach her and ask her for help. Now, I thought you kind of blended those two things into one sort of mookie thing, and that's okay. There's no right way to do a scene. But I think there's still, I think a little bit, I wanted you to like really understand that the scene is not about the words, it's about what's happening in the scene. What's happening in the scene is I really want to impress this cutie pie. Because I wouldn't mind having sex later. And I'm tickling myself with my stupid human behavior when I'm trying to act cool or seem like I don't care. Or, I mean, there's so many different things that you can receive when you know when your tentacles are out and you want to receive things and see it as a big, wide open playing space where there's room to receive things. And I
Okay.
write a chapter on it in my chapter, Magical Blank Spaces, because by understanding the scene is full of magical blank spaces, you do invite the universe to send you gifts to fill those blank spaces. So we're going to take it from me saying, what is it, like animation stuff? What is it?
Okay.
Here we go. So what is it? Is it like animation stuff?
No, strip. Cartooning, strip cartooning. I'm not telling you to strip because this is a workplace and I just met you.
Yeah. No, I kind of like to know people better before I strip for them.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, anyway, I do kind of vintage style 1 to 4 panel cartoons, loosely based on me. It's called Bro. Maybe you heard of it. It's about a single guy living in Seattle, which is where I was living, but then my almost fiance decided she didn't want to almost marry me. So I moved back to Portland, and this is way more information than you wanted.
Good, good. Did you feel a desire to sort of swim in there and discover things?
Yeah, and I think I was also like, I like that you're, I think not to say working off the other person, but it's like looking for that reaction that you're not getting, and then using that as the circumstance, like,
Well, it's one of the circumstances of the scene, but it's not.
Exactly.
It's not an acting technique. I recommend layering over every circumstance. But in this scene, he wants to. My scene comprehension tells me he really wants to impress her. Nonetheless, I do think a little bit you're in a groove today with a concept of this scene that's keeping you from really allowing it to come out in a totally different way. Because I guarantee you, this thing could come out a million different ways.
Yeah.
It keeps looking pretty dang similar because you may have gotten caught in a groove based on your preparation.
Gotcha.
But that's why you really want to see the scene as a wide open playing field where it's an improv. And, if someone said, jump up on stage, Alex, you're next. Now do an improv about trying to impress this girl at a bar or this guy at a bar, whatever it is, then I do think you'd be a little more playful than you're being today. But because you're seeing it as a scene, there's that little bit of you that goes, well, certainly I kind of have to make it look nice, don't I? Like, to like show what it'll look like in the finished product.
All right.
But again, I really like it. I just, that's why improv is such a great way, and making comedic content is such a great way to practice comedy because you're doing it all the time. You're just playing and throwing spaghetti against the wall. That's what I call a sitcom audition. It's like you throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks and and I would just say it would be difficult to do this big chunk where you go off on the tangent if you're just looking at your scene partner. Because if he's looking at her, that means he's aware he's saying it. And I think he has no idea he's saying it or he wouldn't have said it.
Gotcha.
Okay. And that's one of the reasons why it would keep coming out the same, because it's the thing is when we're talking to someone, we look at them and we look away. But when you're just sort of rambling and then I did this and I met this girl and boy, she broke my heart. You don't want to hear this. I don't want to say it.
Yeah. Cool. Gotcha.
Anything else you want to share?
No, I actually it's good hearing this because I think I'm definitely just generally more comfortable with dramas. And I know it's just, different sides of the same coin, but I wanted to get the feedback like this and to work like this with you because, to me, it's a different beast. So at least my head makes it fun.
There's only one kind of acting, but in comedy, you're tickling yourself and you can make more choices and muscle more moments. And I give you permission to make more choices, muscle more moments to tickle yourself with your genuine human behavior. Because this was a very good filmed half-hour comedy audition, but sitcom-wise, I want to see more of who you are. And people hate being told that. It's like, well, how do I do that? And the answer is simple. You just even more approach every moment like an improv, which means, number one, it's really happening, which means you don't know what I'm going to say and you don't know what you're going to say, and that anything could happen. These are just the words, but anything could happen in terms of thoughts, feelings, sound, movement. And then you're the actor taking a big bite out of the scene and really being surprised by all this stupid human behavior pouring out of you.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good work. Okay, so up next we have, is it Tom? No, sorry. It's Tara. And here I was saying it already. Okay, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good. Welcome, welcome. You're doing?
It's from
Alice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just pulling up that scene now. I got some junk on my desktop I'm getting rid of. There we are. And you're starting at the beginning, correct?
Yes. Yeah, just the first 2 pages.
Is this an audition you did, or that you were, where did you get this scene?
It was given to me by a casting director for like an intensive.
And did you perform it in their workshop?
Yeah.
Are you Hollis or Lana?
I am Lana.
Is it a drama or comedy? Can you tell us a little bit about the scene?
Yeah, absolutely. This is like the first chance encounter that she has with, I have with Hollis. I am getting out of my car and opening the car door without looking, and he's riding a bike, and I hit him.
And was there a breakdown that the casting person gave you for your character, or did they just give you this?
No, this is all I was given. So when I looked it up, it's from the drama, actually, even though this is kind of a comedic scene, After Party, which is a film. I forget what year.
Okay, so it's a dramedy, hour-long dramedy. Okay, well, you have the first line, so just whenever you're ready, go ahead and begin the scene.
Sure. Holy shit, I am so sorry.
What
Oh,
happened to looking?
I fucked up. Are you okay? What do I do? Can I call somebody?
This is a custom bike.
What is this supposed to be?
You hear what I said?
About it being expensive? Yeah, I get it. What's this?
Could have hurt someone.
But I didn't. And I said I was sorry.
That's really not the point. Do you have any idea how many cyclists are killed every year?
By car doors?
It's a thing.
That's you. That's what you look like right now.
Well,
Look, I'm sorry. I really am.
okay, well, just be careful.
I promise. And you smile. See? Better.
Be careful.
I promise.
Good. What was your experience with that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was saying?
Not really, but it felt a little meh. So I haven't identified what the vulture was saying necessarily, but it was just judgy.
It was. What do you think she was saying? There's a difference between, I felt like the scene was met, and, I felt like my vulture was saying things that were judging the scene, but I don't know what they were saying. So which one is it?
Yeah, I think it was probably the latter.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
what?
feelings are in facts. Every feeling is caused by a thought. So if you were feeling negative feelings like a meh, and I feel like I'm being judged, it means your vulture was squawking. So what would maybe we should say, how did you feel? Because then we'd be able to backtrack and figure out what your vulture said to make you feel that. Like people sometimes say, I felt like I was rushing, or I felt like this, or I felt like that. That's
yeah,
another way.
I felt probably like a little superficial, I guess.
Your vulture, was it saying you're being superficial, or was your vulture saying, I don't think you really mean this? Or did you, as an actor, become aware, wow, I don't feel like I'm behaving as if it's really happening?
Yeah, I would say that mostly.
Well, when we become aware that we're not behaving as if it's really happening, that means we're trying to show what the scene would look like in the finished product.
Mhm.
Now, the thing about the affirmations is your vulture squawks while you're acting, so you're going to have to say affirmations while you're acting. So in that moment, you just want to go, nope, ninth take, I release and destroy him, I need to show him what it looks like. I'm just going to behave as if it's really happening.
Okay.
Because, and I wouldn't use the word superficial, because it's a complex word that really what you're saying is I'm not behaving as if it's really happening. So why come up with 100 different ways to say I'm behaving, and just say, oh, well, I'm being aware that I'm kind of, there's quotes around everything. I'm just pretending that I'm saying it, but I want to really say it. I want to, if I'm asking a question, I want to really ask a question. In other words, I want to behave as if it's really happening.
Yeah. Cool.
Anything else your vulture said?
Um, I guess one thing that I guess for this scene in particular that I'm not sure if it was vulture or more just kind of a technical question for this scene, because it's like I'm holding a bike helmet, I'm taking a picture and showing you what you look like. It feels like a lot of action, but it's directly linked to the dialogue. So what would your suggestion be? Drop it or?
Well, I have a chapter called Movement in Auditions, and all the answers are in there. What I would say is if you were filming this, it's up to you. I mean, because you're filming it at home nowadays, if you want to pick up a bike helmet, but we also don't want to seem too needy. It's like you could just mime that, you know? And also, in my opinion, I would not have had that guy's picture on your phone.
Okay.
As a casting person, that really, it felt like an extra step that I didn't want or need to see. Yeah. But I love that you had the phone because people really have phones around, and why mime if you've got something right there? But a bike helmet, you'd clearly have to go out somewhere and go get it. And that's why I wouldn't bother, because it just ends up looking like you're somebody with all the time in the world.
Gotcha.
Anything else you want to share about your experience of doing the scene? It could be a good thing, maybe something that you felt less vulture squawking because of what you're working on today.
Well, I had the good little intensity.
Well, your heart's always going to be racing, so I don't even talk about it. But the goal is to just remember, okay, good, my heart's racing. Good, that's going to make magic happen. And now I want to deal with any anxiety that's being caused by my vulture squawking.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was a nice audition. And my issue with it was really the thing that comes up for every actor when we go to drama auditions. Your vulture wants you to muscle the scene and make choices, because that way you'll never be called back by that casting person again. And you were muscling the scene a bit.
Yeah.
But look, we can all go further down the road of not making choices, but instead and only allowing them to happen to us. So, I mean, I am constantly learning. There's still distance I can go in not making choices. So really, like when I go into a drama audition, I don't just say I'm not going to make choices. I say I'm going to go further down the road of not making choices than I ever have, and that I want choices to happen to me based on the circumstances which I've put in my belly. Trust my gut to do with those circumstances what it will. Yeah, so that would be one thing. And knowing that the words you can just throw away, you don't have to color them or deliver them. That's another part of drama acting we always want to remember. And the reason why we do make choices or color words is because we want to make everybody out there feel comfortable. And actually, the truth is, you should hope we feel totally fucking uncomfortable. Like we're pulling a curtain aside and watching something we're not supposed to be watching or that we're not invited to. And I just felt a bit invited to this by you because I felt you were taking care of the scene. No big deal, though, because it was a very nice audition because you were behaving as if it's really happening. Just for a drama audition, you were making too many choices.
Gotcha.
But I thought you had great scene comprehension, and I really enjoyed the audition. But we're going to do it again, and I want to do the exercise I love because it gets rid of the moment when the scene begins and you're under pressure to act. I'm just going to ask you questions about your life so you can remember how you really think and communicate. It's a selfish exercise because in the middle of it, I'm going to say start the scene. And the goal is, without looking at the scene, to just jump right into the scene, but bring right with you into the scene how you really think and communicate.
Okay.
So that I can't tell the scene began.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that means you got to let go of any way you thought to do this scene, because we already saw that anyway, and instead just behave as if it's really happening. So when you were younger, did you go bike riding much?
Yeah. I've had a number of bike.
What was your bike?
It was a Huffy. Had like a purple unicorn on it, which was.
And again, this is just for you to remember how you really think and communicate. So you can bring that right into the scene, so we can't even tell the scene began. Did you lock your bike up? Did you ride your bike to school?
No, I mean, we kept our bikes in the garage, and I was too far away from the school to ride to it.
So where would you ride your bike to?
We would go like across the street into a neighborhood and just ride around to, I don't know, basically just on the different roads and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have a project you were making and it got ruined, like, you know, ate by your dog, or you lost something you really liked?
Yes, I'm sure I did. I had for college, I actually had to make a.
We're starting the scene.
So.
Go ahead.
Oh my God. I am so sorry.
What happened to looking?
Fucked up. Are you okay? I mean, What do I do? Can I call somebody?
This is a custom bike.
What's this supposed to be?
You hear what I said?
About it being expensive? Yeah, I get it. What's this?
You could have hurt someone.
But I didn't. And I said I was sorry.
Look, that's really not the point. You have any idea how many cyclists are killed every year?
By car doors?
It's not, it's a thing. It is a thing. You're trivializing a serious issue.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
This? That's you, what you look like right now? I am sorry. I really am.
Okay, just be careful.
I promise. You smile.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Was that easier or harder than the first time?
Easier.
Was it more fun or less fun?
More fun.
So that's the wonderful thing about my workshop is whenever actors have an incredible adjustment and the scene becomes like amazing, they always say it was easier and more fun, which must mean that acting's easier and more fun than you thought.
And you know what you're talking about.
And if it's better and it's easier, that means it's not better because we worked on the scene at all or that you learned some new technique. No, if the scene is better and easier, that means it's better because you stopped being involved in things you don't need to be involved in, which was anything your vulture was squawking about, because I think you'll admit you had no vulture squawking, didn't you?
Yeah, no.
So here's how easy acting is. Next time you act, just tell your vulture, no, I release and destroy my need for anything you're saying, even if it sounds true. And then you'll do what you just did so easily and so well.
Thank you.
Because all that exercise does when you talk about your childhood is, all it really does is get your vulture to shut up. Because when you're talking about your bike in high school, you don't have a vulture going, okay, show the scene what it'll look like in the finished product, do a good job, get it right. And then when you jump into the scene, your vulture forgets you're doing a scene and she forgets to squawk. Now, the affirmations do what that exercise does, and they do it better because they deal with specifically what your vulture is saying. Because I guarantee you don't have to remind yourself how you really think and communicate right before an audition, because you've been really thinking and communicating all day long.
Yeah.
The trick is something new has started, and that's that all of a sudden now you've got a vulture squawking a bunch of result-oriented garbage. So deal with the issue, the vulture, get her to shut up, and you'll do what you just did on the first take.
Sounds like a plan.
Because I got to see who you really are, not the part of you that you thought would impress or get it right.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guarantee you, you are more beautiful, more adorable, more lovable when you are letting us just see who you are when you're behaving as if it's really happening.
Awesome. That's
Great work. Fantastic job. That was just
Thank
a
you.
stunning adjustment. And as you said, easier and more fun.
Thank you very much. You're awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Up next, we have Regina, right? But Regina. No, maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. I have it as Regina Pallion, but maybe she's not here because maybe I have too many people in the room. Let me see. There's something that can happen. Let me see if she's made a comment that she can't get in. Maybe that's happened. Can you give an example of having high school? Well, she's here, or she was, because there's a comment from her. Ashley, can you exit the studio since you already performed? And Tara, can you exit just because it may be that Regina couldn't get in and now is trying to. So Regina, if you would, click on that link again that I gave you. But because you're not here yet, I am going to skip you. And that does mean that we're going to go to mentally that person who is, I forget what that real name is. And I apologize, but Regina isn't here. So I don't, so I got to try to remember. Mentally Muslim is doing the scene Beth. Can you wave your hand in front of the camera if you are a mentally Muslim person? Are you not here? It all comes crashing down. Diane? Are you?
What?
You already did your scene. Who is Zara? There you are. Zara walked away because she didn't know that I was going to skip the last person. And so that's completely understandable. We'll wait till she comes back. And Regina, I'm going to check my email to see if she's been panicking, trying to figure out how to get in here. Here we are. Okay. Regina had to cancel because she's having technical issues. Well, that's very sweet. She just wrote a nice comment. And so that means since I don't have Zara, that means and this is, I'm going to leave this up to you, Nick, because you thought you had many more people performing. But would you like more time, Nick? Would you just like to have more time? Oh, I think that thumbs up.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I'll take a couple minutes if you don't mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I'm going to do at this point is actually a really fun that we have the time to do it, which is I want to talk to anybody who's already performed or anybody who has, if you've already performed but you have a question, come back into the studio because I've got space for you. Alex, did you wave your hand? No, it seems like you didn't. Does anybody out there in the internet universe who's watching on YouTube have a question? Because I can see your comments. So all you'd have to do is type the question. So again, if anybody, either here in the broadcast studio, because I can see you, or out in YouTube world, have a question, now would be the time to type it and we can talk about it. But I also want to thank all the people out there in YouTube world who are making comments as we go by. I see them and it's very sweet when you say nice things about the performers. So that's adorable. I'm going, oh, Zara, you're back. Do you think that you'd be ready to perform now? Because it turned out, oh yeah, okay. Turned out that somebody, the woman before you had technical issues, so we have to skip her.
Okay.
So your scene, I'm gonna look up what your scene is Beth, correct?
Yeah, I'm Beth.
Okay, so for the people out there, don't know this is a sitcom. We're back in sitcom world. And Beth in this scene is having a friend of hers teach her how to drive. So this sitcom scene takes place in a car. You have the first line, so I'm going to let you, when you're ready, begin. But no rush. When you're ready, you begin. Sitcom audition.
All right. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much for doing this. Dave was teaching me how to drive, but he figured if I was dead and he was in jail, there'd be no one to take care of little Jack.
Oh, well, Beth, I love Dave, but he's not the most patient guy and it just takes time.
Yeah, but I know teaching a woman how to drive isn't your favorite way to spend a Saturday.
Well, I don't know. It really has nothing to do with whether you're a woman, because that's a stereotype. There's women race car drivers. I'm sorry, what happened to the rear view mirror?
Oh, it's in the glove department. It was too distracting.
Okay, but Beth, you got to be able to see what's going on behind you.
Oh, I know. I don't mind the side mirrors, but in this one I see people's faces and I wonder, what's he like? Where's he going? Is he happy? Why is he laughing? What is he listening to on the radio that I'm not listening to? Maybe I can find it. And that's when I hit that man on the bicycle.
Okay, let's not worry about mirrors and just get you on the road. So go ahead and start the car.
Oh, I can do that.
Good, okay. Just go ahead and pull out carefully and start driving.
Okay, where are we going?
Oh, I don't know, just drive.
Well, we're taking the car out. Shouldn't we go somewhere?
No, I mean, it just doesn't matter where we go. I just want you to practice driving.
Well, it's hard to drive when I don't know where we're going. I don't know what turns to take.
Okay, good. Let's stop there.
Okay.
Okay, good. So what was your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was squawking about?
I don't know. This is my first time acting, so I don't really have any experience with it.
Well, another way to put it would be, while you were doing the scene, did you have any big fear? Like, well, when I was doing the scene, I was really scared that I might forget a line or, something like that.
I was definitely, I don't have the best memory, and I read part of your book, but I do struggle a lot with remembering the lines. And so I find that even if I have it memorized and I do it by memory, then I forget to do the emotion behind it because I'm just trying to recite what I remember.
I know you could remember lines and still behave as if it's really happening. But you don't have to, quote, do the emotion of a line. You just while we act, we get surprised by feelings that come to us based on images or thoughts that pop into our head. So what I'd say is acting is easier than you think, and you just say the words and try to play pretend and behave as if it's really happening. And I will add, everybody hates memorizing. Nobody loves memorizing, but it's not hard to memorize. It's just a bummer. Look, as actors, our job is to fucking memorize lines, but you can do it with anxiety or without. And I recommend to actors, you do it without anxiety. Well, first thing I want to say is, I am so proud of you for coming on here today and doing your first scene here with us. And I thought it was adorable. Boy, you really tickled me. I mean, that was some funny stuff. So good job. And wow to that being your very first time to act.
Oh, thank you.
But I want to show you something that's going to change everything for you about your line concerns. Okay? This is for all of you guys out there. Anybody who hasn't seen me do this, they say it changes everything. So here is this is my only note for you on the scene because I thought it was adorable, but you had a lot of anxiety about keeping it moving, getting these words out perfectly.
Yeah.
So I want to show you this. Here's what every actor does when they forget a line. Now I'm going to make up 2 lines and pretend that I forget the second one. Okay? So watch, This is what actors do. They go like this. And here's my script. They go, I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Well, if instead of panicking and looking down, if you just stay up and try to remember the line, it looks like this. I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Now that moment when I was going, what the fuck is this line? Looks like I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
And you have to have those moments. You won't book work without those moments. But see, we get rid of those moments because we think in a moment of silence, they can read our mind and know that we're a sham and that we blew it. But the truth is, the moment you forget your line is the best moment of your audition because what could be more real than a human standing in front of another human thinking of what to say? Because you see, every scene you're ever going to do in your life is a scene about a woman who doesn't know what she's going to say. But we turn every scene into a scene about a person who knows everything they're going to say and wonder why we didn't book that job.
Mm-hmm.
So you should actually hope you forget your line. And while you're coming up with what the line is, be kind of aware in your belly, ooh, they're projecting fascinating things on me right now because they can't read your thoughts. And the reason why you can stay up and take all the time you want to remember the line is that when you're acting, because your heart's racing, time speeds up. So what feels like 5 seconds of dead air, really only about 1 moment, like 1 second has gone by. And now here's the thing that keeps everybody still stuck in the habit of looking down. Actors are afraid, but what if the line doesn't come, or at least something close enough that I could paraphrase my way through it? Here's what that looks like. I'm going to show you now what it looks like when an actor stays up, tries to remember the line, but the idea of the line doesn't come and they have to look down. It looks like this. I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Did that bother you? Because it doesn't bother them. It doesn't bother them at all. And what I showed you is worst case scenario. So I recommend to all you actors out there, just stay up, wait for the line to come. If you've looked at them, I bet it comes, or at least something close enough that you could paraphrase. Because once I'm doing my audition, if I can remember the idea of the line, I'd rather paraphrase it than look down to get it word perfect. And they don't mind if you paraphrase a little. I've booked many jobs having paraphrased. I don't want to paraphrase. I want to say it word perfectly. And pretty much all I do to prepare for an audition is memorize. So very often I know it all. Okay, so we're going to do it again, but you're not going to be allowed to look down at all.
Okay.
To force you to practice staying up. So I want you to go ahead and look at your lines now so you've had a moment to look at them. While you're looking at them, focus on the meaning of the line so that you at least understand the meaning of the line so you could paraphrase your way through it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's do
Now, I
this.
want to do the exercise where you talk about your life so you can remember how you really think and communicate, because I would like you to bring how you really think and communicate right into the scene. And when the scene begins, you know, you're not kind of excited to be learning. You're really excited. You're not kind of grateful. You're really grateful. Put that in your belly, because it's going to make more of your spontaneous, genuine human behavior come out of you when you're doing an improv about getting to learn how to drive today. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
In other words, fuck it. We already saw you do a great job. This time, just see what happens. When you were younger, what were some of the street names in the neighborhood you grew up in, so that you can remember how you think and communicate, so that when I say start the scene, you'll bring that right into the scene and we'll just play.
Okay.
What were some
All right.
street names in your neighborhood?
Pecan, almond, saw leaf, chaparral, or
And what were
chaparral.
the schools you went to, the name of the schools you went to?
I went to Santiago Hills Elementary School and Venado Middle School.
When you were younger, was there like a band that you were really into, that you were obsessed with, or an actor that you were obsessed with, or a movie?
I loved Backstreet Boys.
Why were they fucking awesome? Why? Why were they awesome?
All their songs are just so catchy. Like they just
Can
get
you
the
lean
like
back in your chair? What does it look like if you lean back in your chair? Can you lean back in your chair? What does that look like? Even does it help if you scoot the chair forward? I'm asking you to do this because normally in a car we're leaning back in the chair, and also I always recommend to actors that they make leaning back in the chair their home base. So tell me again, their songs were what?
I Want It That Way.
That's the song was your favorite. What album was that on?
Black and Blue.
Did you ever get to see them in person, or did they come to your town?
Nah.
What was your favorite? Did you have a poster of them in your room?
I didn't have a poster because my mom didn't let me have posters.
Mm-hmm. Who was your favorite band member?
I think I liked the blonde one. I think his name was Nick. I don't know. I can't remember.
Start the scene.
Okay. Thank you so much for helping me. Dave was trying to teach me how to drive, but he figured with me dead and him in the jail, there would be no one to take care of little Jack.
Oh, that's okay. I met Beth, but you know, it's like you just got to be patient. He's not the most patient guy. You know, it just takes time.
I know, but spending your Saturday trying to teach a woman how to drive probably isn't your ideal thing.
Well, it's not about being a woman. That's a stereotype, because you know there's like women race car drivers. So, what happened to the rearview mirror?
Oh, it's in the glove department because I found it really distracting.
Oh, okay, Beth, but you know it's helpful to be able to see what's going on behind you.
Oh, I know, but I don't mind the side mirrors. But when I look in the big mirror, I see people behind me and I see their faces and I'm like, oh, who are they? What are they doing? Are they happy? Where are they going? What are they listening to on the radio that I'm not listening to? And that's when I hit that guy on the bicycle.
Okay, look, Beth, you know what? Let's just get you on the road. So go ahead and start the car.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay, well, good. Pull out carefully and start driving.
All right, where are we going?
Oh, I don't know, just drive.
Well, I don't know how I can drive if I don't know where we're going.
No, because it doesn't matter where we're going. I just want you to drive around, practice.
But if I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what streets to take.
No, I'm going to tell you where to turn.
Why don't you just tell me right now?
We're headed back here, okay? We're just going to drive around and come back here.
Oh, then why are we leaving?
Good. So, my dear, was that easier or harder than the first time?
It was way easier.
Was it also more fun?
Yeah, it was way more fun.
Well, that's a great thing about this workshop. Whenever actors have a terrific adjustment, and that was an amazing sitcom audition. You had me in hysterics. I had to keep from laughing through that whole thing. And most importantly, that time you were behaving as if it's really happening much more because you didn't have that added responsibility of getting a word perfect and keeping it moving.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But again, whenever actors have a great adjustment, they always say it was easier and more fun. And that's because acting's easier and more fun than we all thought. And it's better and easier because not because we worked hard on it. It's better and easier because we stopped worrying about things. We set junk down we don't have to worry about, which was anything your vulture was squawking about keeping it moving and getting the words right.
Yeah.
So next time you act, just tell your vulture, I release and destroy my need for anything you're saying. And then you'll do what you just did so easily and so well.
Oh, okay.
So if you watch that back, you're going to just be like, oh my God, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember saying the line like that. We got so much more of your genuine human behavior. And that's what's funny in a comedy is genuine, spontaneous human behavior. Like somebody even thinking, that blew my mind. What do I say back to that? And we don't get those moments if you're busy in that moment looking at the script so you can get out your next line.
Okay.
Anyway, what a joy to get to be a part of your very first acting experience. Great work.
Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
Up next, we have Nick.
Hi, Jack.
Hello, how are ya?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good. Nick is a Los Angelian who we've worked together many times. And you're doing what scene, Justin or Jane? Or
James.
And are we starting at the beginning, yes?
Yes, please.
So is this something you had to do for an audition or something you got from a...
No, this is something you sent me last month.
And it's a drama?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's titled APB. I don't know if it's half hour or hour long drama.
Let's say it's an hour-long drama and it takes place in an interrogation room and it says Murphy, me, sits across him, James, in a small spare interrogation room. James, you, says is a wiry, hard-eyed guy, cocky and good-looking. He smirks at me, her, confident. That's the stage directions for this drama scene. I have the first line, so you let me know when you're ready. And
there's going to be, just so you know, this first scene has a chunk that's X'd out, and then it continues on the third page with your line.
Great, thank you. So whenever you're ready, let me know.
Okay, great.
Want to go down for this alone?
Who said anyone's going down?
You ran from the police, from the scene of a murder.
You got the wrong guy.
You got video killed me.
Yeah, you got video of masked guys running out of a store. Good for you. That guy in the video wasn't me.
You think ditching your mask and gloves is going to protect you? You're driving away from the scene. You think a jury will believe?
No, I think a jury is going to think this. I saw some guys rob a jewelry store. I freaked out, so I took off, just like anyone would. Those men had guns, detective.
You ran from the police. I explain that.
They were screaming at me, freaked out. I mean, I hear those crazy stories about cops all the time. I was afraid for my life.
That's your story.
That is the truth, detective. That's all I got. Anything else?
We're going to do the next scene. Love what you're doing. Go further in trusting that the words can come out when they want to come out, and that you can just throw them away.
Okay.
Don't get colored by something bigger than you. You don't have to make any choices. I hope the audience feels so fucking uncomfortable watching this. You're going to take ownership of it and say, this is really fucking happening to me. You don't have to want to do this scene. It's the ninth take, and the director says, we already have it. So this one's for you, whatever you want. I don't care. Just want to surprise yourself. Just behave as if it's really happening. I have what I need. So here we go. Ready? So this is a crew you worked with before.
Yeah, we all used to work on security together in Indiana. Sutter, the guy up there, he was the one who figured out that we can make a hell of a lot more money, hitting up the places instead of guarding them. So
Julie Wholesaler wasn't the real target.
no, that was just the first step. We were going to hit the wholesaler, so then we could hit this armored truck. We'd have all the schedules.
Wholesaler would have shipments all over. They know all the routes for all the companies.
Yeah, and you know the plan was that me, Mikey, and Adam, we were going
I'm
to
gonna stop you. Sorry. Good. What's your experience of that? The whole thing in general. Anything come up you don't care for anything your vulture was saying?
I have to think about it. I think there was some vague pressure.
Well, pressure is caused by a vulture squawk. Pressure is a feeling. Vulture says something that makes you feel pressure. What do you think he was saying?
I think it was like that. It was like, off you go do it. It's like, and it was so funny because I thought about like, okay, like I'm just gonna leap and like let whatever happens. And you know, I just want to jump into the dark and trust that, you know, a net's gonna catch me.
Right, but your vulture said, okay, do it.
Yeah, go ahead and jump. Go ahead and jump.
What?
It said like, go ahead and jump. Off you go.
But what does it mean when it says that? Or you wouldn't be telling me it might be your vulture. What does that add?
Like, go out. It was like the adding to that was like, and it better be good. Yeah.
You need to dig that deep and go, okay, I know that sounds fine to say go ahead and do it, but vulture, I feel bad. What are you really saying? What is it saying if it says go do it? It's saying, but it better be good. I release and destroy my need for it to be good.
Yeah.
I have a reality where there's no such thing as failure. However it goes was meant to go. And what's good? I can't be good if I need to be good. I want to be good, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what's been coming up. I mentioned it earlier, but I was on the YouTube version before I found the.
Yeah, you want to say I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
I'll let those other actors have the responsibility to be a thing called good. Fuck good and fuck Jack. Fuck all these people.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, sorry. Is there anything else you want to share?
No, I think that goes into what I've been hearing as a vulture lately is like, oh, that's good, it's okay, but it's not great. It's like there's still this like good enough, this like barometer.
You can't create great.
Yeah.
You can't. Just give it up. Monet, the best flower painter in the world, his flowers suck compared to the ugliest flower you find in nature, which is fucking an infinite beauty because it was made by nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we release and destroy our need to control a scene, because you can't make a scene good. You can't. You can only get in the way and fuck it and make it bad. So that's why we say I'm not controlling it. I ask my higher power, the magic of acting, or my racing heart to lovingly guide me through it. I just want to have a rich, surprising, selfish experience. The camera sees all, and I'm allowing the uncomfortableness of letting them watch me go through this horror. In the second scene, in the first scene, that's not the circumstance. Anything else you want to share?
No. I think that there's one other thing that's coming up.
Yes.
Just about like sometimes I think that maybe it's an actor thought, or I don't know. A thought comes up of like there's so much to think of and let go of, in addition to like what are the first few lines. That's something I hear.
What does it mean there's so much you can think of and let go of?
Like, let me think about the ninth take. Let me think about tickling myself. Let me think about letting go of all this bullshit.
Let me help you with that. Because acting's so damn easy, all these affirmations are really just to get your vulture to shut up, because your vulture has so many different reasons why you should listen to it. But in the end, you don't need to worry about any of these affirmations, because behaving as if it's really happening is easy, because that's how we live our lives all day long, behaving as if it's really happening. But you're just doing that in new circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So the only difference between you sitting in the waiting room and you being in the audition room doing the scene is the only thing that changes is the circumstances. So why would you need to worry about a whole bunch of stupid actor affirmations? That's why you got to give yourself permission to hate even me. Fuck it. Because no, all you need, once you get your vulture shut up, doesn't matter anything, nothing else matters but the circumstances. You don't have to worry about the ninth take or the,
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying all this to get your vulture to stop saying there's so many things you need to worry about. Specifically before a drama, the most important things I remind myself are don't make choices, the words throw away, hope they feel fucking uncomfortable, and the ninth take. Then I put the circumstance in my belly and I jump out into darkness and trust the net will catch me. Because the circumstances are important. Now, my note for you is this. You know, everything you're doing is paying off in a very lovely drama audition. And I thought this was terrific. But your goal is to always do, you know, your second go the first time. And I think you've been doing lovely work like this for a while. But the thing that my note for you is this. Sometimes when we tell our body, hey, body, I'm not going to make any choices, not one. The arms go, oh, fuck. Well, then who's entertaining the troops? So they start just doing things that have nothing to do with what you might really do in the circumstance, just to sort of make it, to prove that somebody in the room is acting. You tell your arm, hey, arms, hands, do whatever you want. You're allowed to gesture. I don't fucking care, and I'm not keeping track of it. But we don't have to do anything. We don't have to make any choices. Because if nothing happens, the audience will project on that. Because what's happening is you're coloring the words or delivering the words with your hands.
Okay.
Again, if you gesture in real life, you have to be allowed to gesture when you act. But in my opinion, the gesturing is coming from a panic, make a choice spot because you feel a responsibility to make us comfortable.
Okay.
And the more obvious circumstances are, I'm sitting back in my chair. I have the circumstance of a person that doesn't give a shit about even a cop, which means multiply by 1,000 how much you have permission to hate your audience. Because it will really make you not take care of us, because he certainly isn't. Because in your belly, you know, fuck you, cop, you don't have shit on me. Right? Then in the second scene, I'm going to fucking jail. I'm going to fucking jail for a long time. Acting runs on emotion, want to feel in both scenes, but remember the character doesn't. You push it down. And when you push down a seed of panic or fear or angst, it grows stronger, you feel it more. And in the first scene, it's, you know, the disgust you feel for them, the fuck it, I'm in the clear, right? But these are improvs, meaning you're behaving as if this is really fucking happening to you for the first time. I'll say the affirmations again. You don't have to make any choices, which is liberating. All responsibility of making choices off your shoulders. Instead, you'll just see what happens to you when you behave as if this is really fucking happening. Number two, these words, I'll just throw them away. They'll come out of me when they want to come out of me. I'm not going to color them. I'm not going to deliver them. I have faith. I have the character's thoughts and feelings. The words I throw away. Number three, I hope Jack feels so fucking uncomfortable watching this, and I'll do that by not taking care of the scene at all, but instead and only being interested in my experience of behaving as if it's really fucking happening to me for the first time, which means I don't know what he's going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say. And lastly, the director says to you, thank you so much for bringing in all those perfect choices. They were brilliant. I had them all on film perfectly, and I'm going to use them. So since we're done, but we're doing it again, and I'll never look at this take, I guess you don't have to do any of that great stuff you brought in. I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Oh my God, take all the time you want and your permission to do it badly. I'm never going to look at this take. Here we go. So you want to just go down for the song?
Who said anyone's going down?
You ran from the police, from the scene of a murder.
You got the wrong guy.
We got video, Kevin.
Oh, yeah? You got video of some guys in masks running out of a store? That's great. That video ain't of me.
Think ditching your mask and gloves is going to protect you? You were driving away from the scene. You think a jury is going to believe you?
No, I think a jury is going to believe this. I saw some guys rob a jewelry store. I got scared, so I took off, like anyone would.
We're going to do the next scene. Nick, I want you to remember, you don't know what I'm going to say, and you don't know what you're going to say. Have faith you have his thoughts and feelings, and they are big ones. And then the words you throw away, but I promise you, this scene is not about these words. This scene is about somebody thinking out loud and dealing with a big thing. You don't even have to know what it is, but I guarantee you, the scene is taking care of itself. You don't have to want to do this scene because he doesn't want to be here doing this. It says he sits across from James. He spills his guts. Here we go. This is a crew you worked with before?
Yeah, we all used to work security together in Indiana. That guy, Sutter, he's the one who figured out we could make a lot more money hitting the places than guarding them.
Jewelry wholesaler wasn't the real target.
No, that was just the first step. We were gonna get an armored truck, so we wanted the wholesaler so that we can get the schedules.
Wholesaler get shipping so all over. They know all the routes for all the companies.
Yeah, the plan was that.
I want to do this scene again from the beginning. I want you to remember how you really think and communicate. I want to remind you he's just become aware that he probably will spend 20 years in prison. And the words you throw away, take what I said and throw it away too. You're not stupid. You're not going to forget that. I'm not asking to see something, but do let go of any way you thought to say this before, okay? And when you were younger, did you hurt a friend or you regret saying something or dropping a friend?
Yeah.
The goal is to just bring right a scene how you think communicate. Where were you when this happened, or who was it?
It was my friend Garrett Thompson. It was in the morning after we ding dong ditched this neighbor of ours.
How did you feel when you realized that you had hurt this friendship?
I felt
This crew, we're starting. You've worked with this crew before.
Yeah, we used to do security together in Indiana. Sutter, the guy on the top, he's the one who figured out we could make a lot more hitting the places we were guarding.
Yeah, but the jewelry wholesaler wasn't a real target.
No, we were. There was just the first step. We were going to get the armored truck. We had to go to the wholesaler in order to get the schedules.
Also, could have been shipments from around the world. They show all the routes for all the companies.
Yeah, the plan was that me and Mikey and Adam would be driving, and Sutter was going to blow.
When was this supposed to happen?
What's that?
When was this supposed to happen?
Oh, well, we're going to be skipping town tonight after sunset, so I assume late this afternoon.
James, we need to know what truck.
But I don't know, because Sutter's the one who made all those plans. He purposely didn't bring us up to speed on it because he doesn't want us making up our own, way to score.
We're talking about 200-300 cars. If you want a deal, we need everything.
I told you, I don't know. Okay, all I know is that we were setting up an apartment on Kendall Street.
Give me the address.
Why do you need that? Because you've obviously already got someone talking. I mean, your guys who picked me up. And wait, your guys weren't. You son of a bitch! You lied to me.
Oh, now we got you. You're in, James. It's over. You and your loser friends are done.
You think that you're so much better than us? Huh? Because we're making $10 an hour with zero medical.
Okay, I'll stop you there. Good, Nick, what's your experience of all that?
Yeah, it feels easier and less pressure to try to make it be something different. Like be something that I can take on there, like my ideas and my strategies or whatever.
Well, it sounds like you have less result-oriented concerns.
Yeah, just more interested in how it is going to come out.
More interested to experience the surprise of how it's going to come out. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're literally describing right now is the difference between thinking you've got to show me what the scene will look like in the finished product and doing the 9th take. And that's the reason why the 9th take is the secret to auditioning, the secret to acting. So now you know, wow, my vulture is using little whispers to make me think my job is to show what the scene will look like in the finished product.
Yeah.
And I want to do the 9th take. I want to commit to only having a 9th take because it's the only time the scene will be any good because it's the only time you're giving yourself permission to act, to behave as if it's really happening. Yeah, I think it just keeps getting better and better. And I would just say, coloring with your hands under the screen, I'm still going to notice it in the first scene.
Okay.
I guarantee you, Nick, the space taken up by your responsibility to do this with the words, I'm not saying you can't gesture, but it's keeping you from receiving those little concepts, thoughts, and images that can come anywhere in the middle of one line. But if what I'm getting by your hand doing this, even if it's under the camera, is that you're going, it's my turn to deliver this line.
Right.
And when you think it's your turn to deliver a line, that means you're kind of looking for an answer to that line.
Yeah.
And that means you can't get in touch with the moment-to-moment fleeting thoughts, feelings, and impulses that happen even in the span of one line. So if you just said, fuck it, I'd rather do nothing than get involved in making shit happen, all of a sudden, these things happen to you that, in my opinion, I think you allowed much more in the second scene than the first.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's my way of like land. This is the way I'm going to say the phrase, is by using, and it's almost like I'm conducting.
That, please don't.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. I think it's
But
like
that famous actor, he says he gets rid of all the punctuation because he
Right.
doesn't know if he's going to stop in the middle of a line or sweep right through a period.
Mhm.
And there's a reason why that's such a lovely sentiment, and because we want to just be surprised. And if you're going, well, this is my, what you just said, that works against you, making us feel uncomfortable, because it's part of what you're doing to be the good guy who's going to come in and make everyone comfortable by taking care of the scene. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But great work. I thought it was terrific, and I thought that your adjustment made it, especially the second scene, was really powerful.
Thanks, Jack.
You're welcome. Good work. Good to see you.
You too.
So, Tom, your last one up is a rotten egg.
Yes, sir.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
You're doing Justin,
Yes, I am.
and Justin's from an hour-long drama. And Justin is like the assistant in a campaign to reelect this government guy, right?
Right.
I think assistant might be the wrong word. You're
Yeah,
probably
more like campaign manager. I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's much more it. And just for the people out there, this is from an hour-long drama, and it says that Justin is the only one left in the conference room at this evening hour. His feet up on the table and the phone crooked to his ear. And then me, the government official trying to get elected, comes in. So because you start the scene, just take it, whenever you're ready, begin, and I'll be with you.
Yeah. I don't care what the polls say, Tom. Manuel Davalos is going to be the next mayor of Phoenix. Well, you can either get on the boat or you can miss the boat. It's your call.
Justin, a word.
No, that's not a number I'd call getting on the boat. You're going to have to dig a little deeper.
Justin.
Just think about it. I'll call you back. Everything all right?
Well, I'm not sure. Did you ask Bridget Dubois to see if she could find information we can use against Duncan?
Sure. She doesn't work for the DA's office, right?
No, but she's a 12-year-old girl. I spent 20 minutes on the phone with her father, who's wondering quite justifiably why someone from my campaign would ask her to do something so underhanded.
Did she see something?
It's not the point, Justin. I need to know that you understand.
You know what, Manny? I'm starting to think that that I'm wasting my time here. Can you tell me something? Can you tell me? Do you really want to be the next mayor of Phoenix? I mean, you're mad that I asked the girl for some help. Fine, okay, I won't do it again. But sorry, I offended your delicate sensibilities. Because see, these are the new flash polls, okay? And right now you're 10 points behind Duncan, okay? And you're doing it very nobly. I'll grant you that, but it's still 2 digits behind. Now, if that little girl can help us by seeing something, and you,
Okay, good. What's your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was saying?
My vulture was pretty quiet. I think listening to you for 2.5 hours helps. But of course, I've learned one huge thing in this class, which is to memorize the affirmations myself, so that I can do this for myself.
Yeah, I can't be in your head doing it for you. You got to do it.
Exactly. The only thing that really came up was when you stopped me, a vulture said, "Oh, you were doing."
That doesn't matter what your vulture says at the end.
Okay.
I don't talk about that. So, are you saying then that you didn't have vulture squawking during the scene?
I was happily surprised that I was open to the gifts coming in. Yeah.
And did anything come up that felt better than usual based on what you've been working on, perhaps with me or whatever?
Better than, say it again. I'm sorry.
Did anything feel better than usual for perhaps your vulture didn't get away with saying something today that he used to get away with saying, stuff like that?
I think what I've really learned recently is if I just stay up, the line may come, and I did it recently in a self tape, and I did it twice here tonight. So that's very new.
I'm so thrilled that you're embracing that, because I mean, you can't book work without moments where your character is thinking, and actors get rid of all those moments, and therefore that means they're getting rid of the very process that defines life, which is every scene is about someone saying something, hearing something they didn't expect, and then saying something they didn't expect, So anyway, I'm really happy to hear that you're doing it and enjoying it and trusting that while you're thinking, what the fuck is my line, that we're doing the work for you and we're projecting fascinating thoughts on you.
Yeah, and I did look at the script a couple times during that, and it didn't.
You can look down at an audition. You can. It's not the goal, but you can look down if you can't remember the next line.
I don't think it really interfered in any way, which feels new. Yeah.
But I don't think so. I don't think you kind of what I call sort of abusing the privilege,
Yeah.
The rule is if you can't remember the idea of the next line, you got to look down. But the problem is actors don't give themselves any time because they think, oh my God, there's a blank space. Oh no, I'm an idiot. I got to show what the scene will look like and keep the scene moving.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share?
I mean, just that your recovery around anxiety is very beneficial to me because it's like I'm able to take my time more than ever.
Good. Okay, so here's my thoughts. I loved that audition until you got to what you considered to be the emotional part of the scene.
Right.
While I'm so glad that you want to feel, because the actor has to want to feel. We won't feel your anger if you're not feeling it, I'm glad you wanted to feel, but you've got to remember the character doesn't. Nobody wants to start screaming at their boss because they're going to look crazy and they're going to get fired. But the good news is when you push down a seed of anger, it grows stronger. And who knows what might happen. Maybe you'll be surprised that, holy fuck, I just raised my voice, But I felt that you put, that's real life. Real life, people push down feelings. And if you're dragging them up and sharing them, then it's hard to behave as if it's really happening in those moments. Or it changes the character. Now, I think that Justin is a pretty cool cat. There's no exclamation points. And I think Justin is the kind of person who doesn't care what people think because most people would never say this shit to their boss. They go, oh, sorry, boss. Sorry, I won't do it again. Right?
Yeah.
So in other words, we've learned that Justin doesn't really care what people think. And he's good at his job. And yeah. So However, when you get swept up in feeling a responsibility to keep it moving, get those lines out, and deliver what you consider to be the result of this moment of emotion, then you're going to come off as weak and neurotic. And Justin is neither weak nor neurotic. So, and that's how you came off for the whole scene until that moment. But your actor need to remember all these words and to deliver what you thought was the result of the scene took you away from the character's circumstances. That's another reason why we've got to get control of our vulture, because sometimes your vulture, when he squawks, makes you feel something that's not in the character's circumstances. So, Tom, whenever you're playing somebody who's powerful or doesn't give a shit what other people think, it's simple. Just multiply by 1,000 how much you're allowed to hate me, the producer or the reader or the casting director. Put it in your belly. It will affect the scene in ways you don't even need to understand. But one thing it will do is get rid of your need to get it right for me, because Justin has no need to get shit right for people, does he?
Yeah. Can I try it again? Do we have time to do it again?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it again. I want you to have another shot at this. So don't get people out there in YouTube world, don't get what I call paragraph panic. When you got a whole bunch of words coming up, keep reminding yourself, I can take all the time I want. I hope I forget the next line. You know, I'll just throw the words away, but when you see a paragraph, especially in a drama like that, you want to just tumble through it, but hope that something stops you. And if forgetting a line is a great reason to get stopped. Or maybe some image or concept will surprise you and it will make you take a moment, right? But you don't have to control that.
Right. That's the point at which I muscled it. Yeah.
Well, your vulture wants you to muscle and make choices in a drama audition in order to ruin your career, you know, to ruin your relationship with that drama casting person. So don't fall for anything it says, because it will make you start muscling or making choices.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is in the paragraph portion is when I changed.
I know. That's why I said I loved the scene until then.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
We already saw the scene that way. So this time, I guess I'll just want to be surprised. You don't have to make any choices. As a matter of fact, you can go further down the road of not making choices than you've ever gone. Because it'll just end up making us feel uncomfortable. And you should hope we feel fucking uncomfortable watching this. And you'll do that by not taking care of it at all. And you can also go further down the road of just throwing away the words than you ever have, because you don't have to deliver these words. They'll come out when they come out.
Yeah.
Have faith in the character's thoughts and feelings, but the words you're going to throw away.
Okay.
And lastly, here's what I say to myself right before an audition. Oh my God, Tom, thank you so much for bringing in all those brilliant choices. They were perfect for the scene. And I have them all on film already perfectly, and I'm going to use them. So since we're doing it again, but I'll never look at this take. You don't have to do any of that great stuff you brought in. Gosh, I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Oh yeah, take all the time you want. And you have permission to do it badly. I'm never going to look at this take. Here we go, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Now, I don't care what the polls say, Tom. Manuel Duvalis is going to be the next mayor of Phoenix. Look, you can either get on board now or you can let the vote pass. It's your call.
Justin, a word?
Yeah. No, that's not a number I'd call getting on board, Tom. You have to dig a little deeper.
Justin.
Okay, just think about it. I'll call you back. Okay. Everything all right?
I'm not sure. Did you ask Bridget Dubois to see if she could find us information we can use against Duncan?
Sure, yeah. She doesn't work for the DA's office, right?
No, but she's a 12-year-old girl. And I just spent 20 minutes on the phone with her father, who's wondering why someone from my campaign would ask her to do something so underhanded.
Oh, did she see anything?
Jesus, Justin, that's not the point. I need to know that you understand that nothing like this can ever happen again.
But you know what, Manny? I'm beginning to believe that I'm wasting my time here. You know what I want to know? I want to know if you really want to be the next mayor of Phoenix. You're mad that I asked a little girl for help? Okay, fine. I won't do it again.
No,
Sorry,
not at all.
Sorry, I offended your sensibilities. But see those flash polls? Those show that you're now 10 points behind Duncan. You're doing it very nobly, by the way, so I grant you that. But it doesn't change the fact that it's a 2-digit deficit. And if that little girl can help us, and you come in here and tell me that that's not the point, I start to wonder. What's that?
No looking down at all. We're starting from the beginning of all this paragraph bullshit. You know what, Manny? But listen, this is an improv about thinking out loud. It's not an improv about finally saying the memorized speech you've planned to tell this guy.
Okay.
You don't even know what you're going to say in the next word, much less the next sentence. Start.
Okay.
Start. I need to know, no looking down at all. I need to know you're never going to do that again. I can't have you behaving like that ever again.
Okay, you know what, Manny? I'm beginning to think that I'm wasting my time here. What I want to know is, do you want to be the next mayor of Phoenix? You're mad that I asked a little girl for help. Okay, fine. I won't do it again. Sorry if I offended your sensibilities. You see these polls? See these polls here? These polls show that you're 10 points behind Duncan now. You're doing it very, very nobly. I gotta grant you that. But it doesn't change the fact that you're 2 digits behind now. Okay, if this little girl can give us something that will help us, and you come in my office and tell me that that's not the way this happens, I start to wonder.
Tom, how'd it feel?
It's much more fun. You know, this guy's, he's such an asshole.
I had to rip that script away from you.
I know.
You think time is passing faster than it is.
I know.
But you realize you could leave a 5-second break of silence in the middle of this thing. And I would think, holy shit, this guy is powerful and he's thinking and I am so uncomfortable. Anyway, so I thought you did a very good job, but once again, here comes that big ending. And you have to understand, actors out there, every time you look down at the script, that's a moment when you are not free and available to receive a gift from the universe. And another problem with looking down at the script is your vulture goes, oh, a script. I'm seeing a script with words and a character's name. This is a scene. You better look up quickly and keep this scene moving and make a choice here. That's another reason why it's so great to not look down, because then we can forget we're in a scene and just behave as if it's really happening. But so that last time, what I got to see was Tom with no responsibility to a script and a scene. And boy, oh boy, was it a joy to watch. And boy, oh boy, did things come out of you that you wouldn't even expect or remember. But these little delicious things, and you went further than you ever have at this part of the scene in behaving as if it's really happening. Because in real life, he isn't glancing down at a script to keep the ideas flowing, is he?
Yeah.
So anyway, great work. Anything you want to say?
I mean, I think I just want to say how much I appreciate you and your work, because seriously, man, I'll just be brief and say that it's like the theme of tonight for me is like getting out of the way, and that's why it's both easy and uncomfortable, because my whole, what I'm good at is getting in the way, and I want to learn to get out of the way, and you're helping me do that. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, I just thought it was a wonderful audition. And I hope that you and everyone out there will take the joyful risk of not using the script as a crutch the way you kept wanting to, because there's no reason why you would, because you just proved in your experience tonight that when you let go of that responsibility, holy fuck, that was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And boy, was it a great audition there. So The universe always pays off to a joyful risk. So we practice that here in the workshop so that at the audition, we'll be willing to actually take those joyful risks and approach the work in the audition as if we already have the job. And not only that, but we're on set and it's the 9th take and the director already has what he needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the universe abhors a vacuum, right? That's the underlying principle, is that if it's fundamentally abundant, it abhors a vacuum. So something is going to flow in if you just let the space be there.
Oh, that's beautiful. I've never put it that way, but 100% behind that. That's very interesting. Thank you. And thank you. Great to see you again.
You too. You too.
Take care. And to everybody out there, actors and people just watching, take care of yourselves. Stay safe, stay sane, stay productive, get out of class, start making content, start getting involved in what you love for the joyful, selfish love of doing it. And all it takes is you can do a Zoom improv game with your friends. You can make content the way that I do constantly. Every week I'm putting out my silly videos because I grow as an actor that way, and people can see my work that way. If you enjoy what I teach, you can read my free book that has everything I teach in it here at jackplotnick.com teacher. That's where you find my free book. Everything I share is on there because I do this as a way to give back to my community and to the world. If you liked watching this today and you're like, I want to do a scene, write to me here at this email address. So again, thank you all. I'll be doing this, I think, once a week. So watch for the next invite and take care, you all. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Mwah.